You already know what time it is, man. The young goat in the building. Make sure you tune in to Tru Heel Heat podcast.
Welcome to Tru Heel Heat, the place where we use insider terms because we think we know what the fuck we're talking about, even though we don't. My name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it.
Yes, it is that time again. It is Saturday morning. You know what time it is. It's time for the Saturday morning cookout, the flagship podcast. We got a lot to discuss. WWE releases, AEW Grand Slam, plus much, much more. It is Tru Heel Heat 244. Let's get to it. Am I on? Am I here? Hello. Hello. It is me. It is me, your Tru Heel feed dog, SP3. We are live on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube and Facebook. And you could tell by that intro, we are live because my mic wouldn't even come on. But yes, we are here for Tru Heel Heat 244. Grand Slam releases. We are here to discuss the latest wrestling news, including the big mass releases from WWE this week following the TKO merger. We're also going to be discussing a recap of this week in wrestling, including AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, Rampage Grand Slam, Collision, WWE Smackdown, Raw, NXT, Pro Wrestling Noah, because it had NJPW's own Will Ospreay on the show, ROH TV, and Impact 1000 Night 2, plus quick fire predictions for NJPW Destruction in Kobe 2023, plus much, much more. As you see, I am not joined by the beautiful, the lovely Miss Chrissy Love, but he's just as beautiful. He's just as lovely if you ask Wendy. He is the Tru Draw, and he is the person who always comes in the clutch when I need someone to co-host with. It is Josh. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to talking about more news this week.
Indeed. There is a lot of news to discuss, a lot going on in the world of wrestling. Not as crazy as last week with the Rock return and everything going on in WWE, but of course, yeah, we have some maybe more somber news when it comes to WWE this week, but we won't start off with that. We're going to start you off on a little bit more of a high, but we appreciate you all for joining us live right here on the Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast. We appreciate you joining us every Saturday, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time, right here on the flagship. We appreciate all the love and support. Show your appreciation back. Drop the thumbs up on this video. Share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you are new to the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, if you are in the live, you're joining us live, sound off in the live chat. We would love to hear from all of you. So go ahead and give us your thoughts on this week in wrestling. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you can send a super chat donation. We are a self-funded channel, so super chat donations are really the most important thing. It keeps this engine going. It keeps the channel running, and it enables us to do more things like the secondary channel, the sports channel, Twitch, as well as Patreon. And are members of the channel, you could hit that join button for just $1 a month and become a member of the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. And we will always highlight your comments, like the good brother Vala B here, who has been a member for 3 months. Josh, 3 months. Sheesh. You've been with us for the long haul, Valabi, and we always appreciate the support you gives us. He says it's Mocha Saturday, THH, back at it again. WWE could have let AEW take the L on how Mox versus Phoenix ended, but they decided to drop the fattest L this week. I mean, I wouldn't say AEW would have took the L for how Mox and Phoenix ended. Yes, the referee should have been more aware and the communication should have been better, but I don't think that's an L for AEW, especially after Grand Slam had like 4,000 tickets sold last week and it got 10,000 in the building. So I don't know how AEW would have took an L there, but as far as WWE, making an announcement of a $1 billion TV deal and then releasing people, not the best look. What do you think, Josh?
No, the same. When it comes to the whole Moxley situation, I mean, something that happened so fast, so many moving parts. I I would give a little bit more leeway to the ref. At the same time, this is not the first time he's looked bad in a situation like this where somebody gets knocked out, injured, whatever the case may be, and it kind of seems like it doesn't get acknowledged. And I think it's getting to a point that it should be something should be done or something should be said because it's not a good look on his end. But yeah, I wouldn't call it an L. It's unfortunate what happened with Mox. But I give credit to Mox too. Apparently, he's the one that made he called the thing on the fly. Apparently, he was like he was the one that made the call. So kudos to him being aware of something was wrong.
And it's crazy because that's the second time this year a top star has done that. The first time was Mercedes Moné, where she recognized she was injured and called an audible in the ring. Like, and it's crazy because I think Stephanie Hypes on Servant Face and Heel, like right before the Mercedes thing, was like, "Oh, why are there no not more audibles called in the ring?" Because I would call audibles on stuff, and then we've gotten 2 in the past like 4 months.
Yeah, and then also with those kind of situations is because, granted, both situations people got injured. Sometimes that's not always the case, so it's really hard to call. But I think in these kind of 2 situations, you had to, because Mox was just knocked. He was knocked out. Like he didn't move. Nothing happened.
And I'm sorry, that is probably the best match I've ever seen from someone concussed.
Yeah,
because he got concussed like a minute or 2 into the matchup. That's the best match I've ever seen from someone concussed.
And that's scary. That's scary. Like even though it's amazing, at the same time, it's scary because like when I was talking about it on Wednesday, Elite Heat, I was talking about like my past experiences with concussions. I had 2 of them. when I was playing baseball. I had 2 of them, and I was like, it's not fun. It's not fun to have. So it's kind of crazy that he still like worked. Every time people are in those situations, that they still get past it. Because when it happened to me, I remember the first time I had it, I already knew I had one. Second time, I wasn't aware. So it happens. So it's crazy.
Insane. We got Vala B with a correction, 1.4 billion. We're gonna discuss that on the show. Sat E. Niangi of WrestleTalk and Alice McCarthy of Daily Mail will join us to talk all about last night's SmackDown. The WWE releases WWE's big billion-dollar deal with USA to bring SmackDown back home, plus much more. But we're going to start off with some AEW. Before we do that, we want to show some love to all of you in the chat who support us across social media, right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel and Patreon. Of course, that is how we start off every Tru Heel Heat flagship podcast, with the Tru Heel roll call, our top 3 conversation starters over on the Tru Heels group page on Facebook. We got Riken Yelk once again at number 3, once again at number 2, the Negro Buck Nick Jackson, and number 1, Stewie Palmer. Our Patreon backers, you got Nick Jackson, you got Valo B, you got ALW, Nick Jackson, Alex McCarthy, Professor Chris, Austin, Robert, Steve, Fifth Generation Carney, Ladarius, John, John Martin, Dan, Kobe, Queen Monet, Dolores. We also got Marcus Ryan, James, Allen, Santo, and DJ Eric. Thank you so much for supporting us at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content plus the Tru Heel Heat Prediction Championship. Later on today on Patreon, it's a great time to go over there because we'll be dropping my exclusive interview with Matt Cardona from StarCast is going to be dropping on Patreon first before it drops on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel. So go over and subscribe. Just $3 a month gets you plenty of content and early access to interviews just like that one. But let's start off, Josh, talking about AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. One of the biggest shows of the year when it comes to TV shows, when it comes across really all of wrestling. It's in a big stadium. 10,000 were there at Arthur Ashe. The show did 984,000 viewers, the highest viewership for an AEW Dynamite episode since February. And the show featured MJF defeating Samoa Joe in an absolutely tremendous main event by fulfilling his promise and choking out Joe with the help of some tape, of course, to retain the AEW World Championship. Post-match, Joe showed respect to the champ by shaking his hand despite him cheating, and MJF celebrated with Adam Cole, baby, to end the show. Unfortunately, it was an injured Adam Cole. More on that in a bit. Chris Jericho picked up a victory over Sammy Guevara. This was a very good bout, ending with an absolutely great finish with a code breaker out of a shooting star press. Post-match, though, is what everybody is talking about, as Guevara and Jericho hugged it out, only for Sammy to low blow his mentor in a callback to WrestleMania 19 between HBK and Y2J, with Y2J doing the Shawn Michaels sell. You had Sammy in the colors that Jericho wore at WrestleMania 19, and then the cherry on top of this turn, you then had Don Callis came out to show that Sammy has joined his family. You had Saraya beat Toni Storm and her awesome new entrance, which I loved. I did not even know it was black and white because I was there live, to retain the AEW Women's World Championship. This was a pretty good matchup here. In the scariest moment of the night, like we started the show talking about with Vala B, Rey Fenix defeated Jon Moxley to win the AEW International Championship after Moxley suffered a mild concussion early on and was dropped on his head twice for the finish. Rey Fenix, the fourth ever international champion in AEW history. And then in the happiest moment of the show, Josh, you had Eddie Kingston defeated Claudio Castagnoli in an excellent opener. This was like a New Japan, All Japan style matchup. Very hard hitting, very emotional, a lot of drama in this one. Some some absolutely fantastic near falls. He retains the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship, and he wins and becomes the new Ring of Honor World Championship. And post-match, Claudio Castagnoli finally showed Eddie respect by shaking his hand and handing him the title. Eddie Kingston, I've never, this is probably one of the best like reactions to a title change I have ever been witness to live. That New York crowd just showered Eddie Kingston with an outpouring of love that was unlike anything I've ever been live for. Definitely cherish being a part of that crowd and that moment for Eddie Kingston. But overall thoughts, watching it from home, what did you think about AEW Dynamite Grand Slam?
I thought it was a good show. Because it was a little bit different because I went to the last 2 Grand Slams. I kind of felt like those were a little bit better. I mean, for obvious reasons. Eddie Kingston winning was great. Something that needed to be done at this point. It really did. It's just funny because, you know, for all the shit that the Ring of Honor world title has gotten, you know, all the shit it's gotten ever since it came back. A lot of people is giving a lot of pushback on it. So hopefully that this is something that makes people care again, has Eddie as their champion. Even though, I mean, you have people kind of like burying it, you know, completely shitting on it, and then now all of a sudden they care again. That's the only weird aspect of it to me. But besides that, I mean, I thought it was a great overall show. Jericho and Sammy match was a lot better than I expected to be. I know a lot of people I know in the crowd didn't really care because you could kind of hear it. But I thought the match was fine. The ending segment I was okay with. I know there were some people who were giving pushback because they're like, "Oh, you just made Sammy face." But I'm like, no,
Sammy was never a face. Like it was basically The Rock before WrestleMania, before Survivor Series,
it was like
1998. It was him being a face to set up this. That's what it was. That was the goal.
Yeah, you know, and that's why I was like, I didn't see the big deal, to be honest with you, just because I thought if you would have had Jericho turn, that would have been worse because Jericho is the one that just turned. Like, you know, he's been more like up and down with baby face turns and heel turns. So I think that would have been kind of flat for me, and then it would have been too obvious. So I thought Sammy turning and then going with Don, I thought that was a better finish. Like we elaborated to Mox and Phoenix already. It was a good match. It was good for what it was, and then unfortunately that ending happened, and it kind of especially how it happened, like the count, and then he stopped, and that's what made it awkward to me. That's what made it like super awkward.
The ref has to call that like
he should have, he should have called it there or check what was going on. Like, even though, I mean, again, everything happened so fast, but again, I can't really give a pass on somebody that's been in this situation before and he's messed up. So, and then the main event was great.
That exceeded my expectations the most.
Yes.
Like I wouldn't like I was there live. I still haven't watched it back on TV. I was able to watch Eddie and Claudio back. The only thing I disagree with what you said, I thought this was way better than last year. I think last year had the good moments with the Acclaim winning the title and Moxley beating Bryan in the main event and Soraya's debut. They had more like surprises and big moments.
Maybe
but I don't think anything outside of Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega got a bigger reaction than Eddie Kingston winning the Ring of Honor World Championship. And I don't think last year had 2 matches of the quality of the opener and the main event of this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I guess it's just different because I was there in person, and maybe that's
you probably could compare it better if you were there. Yeah, and you could have been like, all right, this is how I would rank it. Like being there, I do realize that sitting at home and being there live, it's night and day. You're gonna have a different perspective. Of the
maybe
show.
That's why, and I think that's why too, because of the surprises, which I wasn't. There was only one surprise I was expecting, and we still didn't get it. At the same time, I I understand why we didn't get it because person's not medically cleared. So
yeah, I thought security was getting ready to like
Oh.
do something because I messaged the chat and everything, and
Yeah.
my internet didn't even work that well, so you didn't even get it until after I already saw that it was just a fan getting Jazzy Jeff out of there. It was Macho Fan, which has become a whole thing on social media. People trying to find out what happened because I saw it all go down. Me and Cass, because shout outs to AEW who sat me and Cassidy next to each other because they were like, let's put these two degenerates of the media together in the same section. So shout outs to them for putting us next to each other. But we were right next to the section that had MJF's mom with "My Angel Is Back" sign in it. And then we saw security like goes towards the back. So we were like, okay, maybe it's like Mercedes. They're setting up for like Mercedes going to come out from this way from the crowd to come out to the ring or something. And then Macho Fan came out and he's like pushing security. He throws a punch at security. It was crazy. Like they had to Jazzy Jeff his ass out of there.
Wait a minute.
Apparently he snuck. Apparently from what I was reading on social media, he snuck backstage.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope is not the guy that I think it is because
no, it's not the guy from the Dark Side of the Ring thing. It's like a
no.
It's a bald head guy with a beard, and he was like wearing like a whole Macho Man guy, Macho Fan.
I know who you're talking about. That's why I'm like, is he the one? If everybody knows in the chat, is he the one that was taking pictures with the cosplay of Dusty Rhodes?
I don't know. Yeah, someone in the chat gotta let us know. But yeah, like I said, I thought
it's that's not good. That's
said
not good.
Negro Buck said that fool snuck backstage. Sheesh. Yeah, it was crazy. There was a lot going on in the crowd. Like it was just nonsense and arguments and people getting thrown out, people in the wrong seat. It's like ridiculous stuff going on.
Yo, and you know what's the problem with shit like that? Like the problem with stuff like that is that there's people who get way too comfortable. Yeah, shit like that. That's the scary part about it. It's like
Vala B confirms that was him.
Yeah, like because my thing is like, all right, we get it, bro. You cosplay as Macho Man. No, I mean no disrespect to him, but I'm like, all right, this is the most thing that you've done that's gotten you the most attention. I get it, but it's like you need to act accordingly, bro. Like you're a fan. At the end of the day, you're a fan. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the shit that's crazy. That's the shit that's crazy to me because I'm like, with me, I have friends that work in AEW. I'm not fucking going backstage. I have no place being backstage. I'm a fucking fan no matter what.
Exactly.
So it's like people like that's fucking crazy to me. That's the first time I'm hearing that. I know a fan got ejected, but I didn't know the details. I'm like,
multiple fans got ejected from this. Like New York don't know how to act sometimes. Like, yo, it's like it was crazy. That guy definitely needed to chill. The other fan that got ejected was the guy in like a llama suit in the front row that had the MJF. I don't know if he got ejected or he got his sign compensated. I just know when I was watching Rampage and I saw his two friends with that were in the front row, he wasn't there. So I don't know if he left early or he got ejected, but yo, that guy, the douche energy was strong with him and it was permeating even from the parking lot, because I was in the parking lot early to tailgate. Shout out to Kate from Fightful who invited me and Cassidy Haynes to a tailgate with the Shining Wizards podcast guys, Matt and Ant from the Mark Order podcast. Shout outs to them. So we're chilling out there, you know, we're having a good time, and then we see a guy in a llama suit, his friend that has like fake dreads on, and the girl that has on like all acclaim gear on, and they like come over to us. They say something about the table, and I'm standing there like, y'all niggas ain't gonna come over here to try to use our table or something. Like, what are y'all doing? So he like comes over and then tries to like say something about homie's hoodie. And then eventually they tell us the real reason why they came over there is because the girl wanted to make her sign. And just the whole time, that dude was just weird. That dude in the llama suit was just weird. His friends were okay, but the dude in the llama suit was just weird.
Oh, so he was like, yeah, that's That's weird to me. It's like shit like that is weird. It's like you just came over to be a dick for what? For what reason? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's weird. It's
He came
stuff
all the
like
way from Florida, apparently. He told us he came all the way from Florida
so
to
you
do
came
that,
all the
to
way
have
from
that sign. To have that sign.
so you came all the way from Florida to be a dick.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is part of the reason why I kind of stopped attending shows full time because it's just stuff like this that I try to avoid. Especially like the last Grand Slam show wasn't too bad. The problem was that when people were doing that ridiculous your chants, I had one guy behind me doing it, and I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" After maybe like the
I
10th
only did
one,
it for Nana dancing.
yeah,
Nana
no,
dancing deserved the yours.
I mean that's different because it's a segment, but I'm talking about throughout the fucking night. Like when it happens throughout the night, that's just
That gets
where it's like
annoying.
when they got to the 10th one, like he did it the 10th time or something. I turned around, and just looked at him, and he stopped doing it. It was like, bro, like really,
Bro, you're
seriously,
killing me. You're killing me, bro.
like
You're killing me.
and people find that funny with New York crowds and shit. I don't find it funny. I think it's ridiculous, especially more so now because you know why. But
Well,
it's just
some
that.
places have those type of things. Memphis says whoop
Yeah,
that trick, whoop that trick. So yeah. So
it's just like
let's talk about let's talk about some of the news coming out of AEW Dynamite Grand Slam, and let's circle back to the whole Jon Moxley situation, as well as he's not the only injury to a top star, as Adam Cole was injured at Grand Slam. Starting with Moxley, the AEW International title match at AEW Dynamite Grand Slam had an impromptu change to the finish. A new report has an update on Jon Moxley afterward. As reported, Ray Phoenix defeated Moxley to win the title on Wednesday's episode. The finish went wrong, and Moxley did not kick out of a move as planned. Phoenix then hit Moxley again with the move and pinned him to win the title. According to PW Insider, that finish was improv after Moxley was hurt. While there's some speculation, there is no confirmed word on whether the actual result changed due to the improvisation at that time. PW Insider also reports that Moxley was checked out by doctors for a long time before he sat up and walked out. The belief backstage is that he may have suffered a concussion. Adam Cole looks to have suffered an injury during AEW Dynamite Grand Slam as well. As PW Insider reports, Cole seems to have injured his ankle when he jumped from the entrance ramp to the floor during the main event match, pitting MJF against Samoa Joe. The site notes that Cole was noticeably limping for the remainder of the match, and there is no word yet as to his status. Fightful Select reports that Cole was taken to the hospital after the show and looked at. He was last seen using crutches. When it comes to Jon Moxley, there was a picture that circulated of the Blackpool Combat Club's Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta, as well as Tony Khan and Renee Paquette, his wife, standing outside of his trailer after the matchup with Ray Phoenix. Fightful also notes that Moxley, who is thought to have suffered a mild concussion, told people he was okay after the match. He was checked on by Tony Khan and others after leaving under his own power. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer Radio added that Moxley wasn't hurt during the finish of the match, but actually in the first minute of the match, Mox caught Phoenix on a dive, but Phoenix landed on his head with the back of Moxley's head hitting the floor. Moxley was originally intended to retain the AEW International Championship, which Phoenix ended up winning. As the match went on, Moxley realized he wasn't feeling well and told Phoenix mid-match that he was going to win. He told the referee to count him out, which he still didn't do immediately after the power driver. It was noted that neither of the power drivers hurt Moxley. Mox was said to be doing better later in the night and was okay backstage. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that Moxley noted that since he wasn't knocked out, neither Phoenix nor referee Rick Knox realized he was hurt, nor did the ringside doctor. When he got backstage, he was diagnosed with a mild concussion or a low grade 1. Once Moxley realized something was wrong, that's when he called for the finish. Meanwhile, with Adam Cole, like he said, there's been no further updates in regards to him leaving the hospital with crutches. We have heard word from basically Adam Cole playing up Roderick Strong playing up Adam Cole's injury, saying that wouldn't have happened if he didn't leave him in the hospital. So maybe, hopefully, that's a sign that it's not as serious as it once looked. But do you foresee in either one of these injuries? A concussion is so unpredictable, and Jon Moxley has been like the ace, the workhorse, the guy they call on when they really need. So losing him for any amount of time will be difficult. And we've seen with concussions in AEW, it's been very unpredictable. Bryan Danielson was out for about 2.5 months. Adam Cole was out for 9 months. So you never, even with a mild concussion, you do have to take it seriously. Meanwhile, with Adam Cole, he's in the midst of the biggest angle he's been in since he left WWE with the Better Than You Baby. We'll talk about Rampage Grand Slam, where they set up challengers for Adam Cole and MJF for Wrestle Dream. Does that put that in jeopardy? What do you think is going to get it? Is there going to be a change in plans for AEW with these injuries concerned? What's your gut feeling as far as these?
I think at most maybe Mox. That would probably be changed, like whatever plans they had for him. I mean, obviously it does change because he dropped the title, and the ideal was for him to stay champion. So obviously that changes no matter what. With Cole, I think it's probably just a sprained ankle. That's just my guess, because even when you go to the hospital, I know people got concerned because of the crutches. Usually that's a common thing. When you get a sprained ankle, they give you crutches. That's nothing really new. The only thing I would say is, like, it's kind of weird that you haven't really gotten an update from it after. Maybe that could be a good thing. Maybe they're just like, all right, he's fine, or it could be a bad thing. Sometimes you just don't know.
Yeah.
But usually any major injuries, you will hear it within like a day or two. So I think I want to be on the positive side on that. I think that's a good sign, because they've kind of just gotten away from it. I just think he tweaked his ankle. I think that's what it was. He jumped off. He was still moving around. He was still, doing certain things, but you could obviously see he was legit injured. Just wasn't a smart idea to jump off the ramp.
No,
Like
especially when there's stats. I know
you're
in a hurry, but there had to be another way.
Yeah, there's adrenaline involved. So all that stuff I get. I don't think it's necessarily like something like people could get on him about. It happens. Fortunately, it happens. You could even walk outside the street and you freaking step on the concrete and you twist your ankle. Sometimes it happens. So, I mean, it is what it is. I just think next time, now he probably knows to be more careful when it comes to these ramps.
Yeah. Yeah. And thankfully they only really kind of consistently use the ramp for Grand Slam. So he's got another year to practice his jump off of it. We got Frantic World in the chat who says Mox is a good guy to let Ray win the AEW international title. I always said when Moxley won the championship at All Out, he did not need to have a long run after Orange's run. So even if it was an improv or a last minute decision, I think it was the right decision to drop the title, because I think that what would have been gained from Moxley just beating Ray Phoenix? Yeah, it would have probably been a better matchup if he doesn't suffer the concussion, but does Ray Phoenix really get anything out of it after,
also handcuffed the title.
Yeah.
If he retains and then he's out for a while, I think maybe that's why Mox called it too, because he was more aware of, like, if he does win and he might be out, you handcuff the title. That'll be a bad spot for them, because you just had somebody defend the title 31 times and then now you're gonna put it on the shelf. So I think that's where he was going with. I think it was a good call, no matter what. I think it was a good call. Because you have somebody who could still go, even though Ray Phoenix, I mean, knock on wood, I don't want him to get injured too, but he does have an injury history too. So that's why it makes it more risky. But at the same time, I think it's something that you have to do.
Yes. I think it was the right decision, and especially we can get Ray Phoenix having some bangers with the international championship. It's gonna be right where it needs to be. I just want them to come up with a damn plan for Orange Cassidy, please. This man looked like he was on the brink of becoming your next homegrown top star, and now he's on Rampage in a freaking 6-person tag against 2.0 and Anna Jay. I'm sorry. That is not what I call valid follow-up for All Out.
I mean, it's definitely not. But
Jesus.
I mean, hopefully he'll get back on track. I just think it's a little down period. Hopefully things
get better. We got Chris in the chat who says, "God damn it, Josh, you just jinxed him."
I mean, Chris will know a lot about Jinx, Aaron Rodgers.
Jinx, knock on wood. Negro Buck saying definitely gotta adjust some plans with Mox out. I'm sure he was probably gonna be booked for on Wrestle Dream. 100%. 100%. The international championship was going to be defended on Wrestle Dream. And if it was going to be defended against a New Japan talent, does that now change that Ray Phoenix is in there due to his connection to AAA? So that's another question you gotta kind of ask there. So some interesting times as far as what's AEW going to do as far as these injuries. I think the more pressing one is Adam Cole. So I'm looking forward to some type of update because Cole can't miss any significant amount of time. Not at this point. They finally seem to have turned the corner with Adam Cole in AEW. They can't revert back with an injury.
Yeah, that's the only thing. That's the only part I really worry about. I mean, both are significant, but if you're talking about one that's more significant, it'll be Adam, just because of the things that he went through already, and then to be at this point, this was what everybody wanted for him because everyone was criticizing his AEW run. And then he comes back, from the injury. He's the main event of a big stadium event. And he's been in the best storyline in the company. So that's probably the main one. But I seriously think he's fine. I really think he's fine. I just think it's a sprained ankle. He'll be fine.
We got Vala B confirming in the chat. He says Phoenix has said he's not working with AAA, unlike Penta. So Phoenix is good to go. Hey, if he's good to go, give me Phoenix versus Hiromu. Give me Phoenix versus Will Ospreay. Give me Jesus.
Hopefully that's the case. Because you know how sometimes New Japan did a little picky too. So it's not like
that's true.
We might be in the clear, but New Japan is usually they're very picky, not so much like in a bad way, but they're just very protective.
And it's not even New Japan with that. It's CMLL. CMLL is like, well, you didn't work for us, so you're still AAA in our eyes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why it's still like unless there's something concrete that proves like, he could do this. Yeah, then maybe.
So big news this week as far as the future of AEW on a streaming service. Warner Brothers Discovery is adding a new live sports tier to Max, though AEW is not currently listed amongst the package. The company announced on Tuesday that the live Bleacher Report sports tier will launch on October 5th and will be free to all Max subscribers through February 29th and then run $9.99 after that on top of your regular subscription fee. The tier is launching just in time for the MLB playoffs and will feature over 300 live games each year, including MLB, NHL, NBA, NCAA Men's March Madness, and U.S. soccer events, as well as BR videos content. The listing does not currently list any AEW content despite their deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, as well as them running their pay-per-views on Bleacher Report Live, which seems to be kind of condensing into the sports tier on Max. So this is kind of a one-part, two-part thing. So I'll just ask you this first before we get into the other part of this story, Josh. What do you think about the whole new Max Sports tier? And do you think that this is kind of the future for where AEW pay-per-views and its tape library is going to be?
I think it most likely that would be the obvious best answer for that. They're probably not going to do it now, probably not for another few years, because I think they still need to build up on content. They still need something significant that could really make them comfortable, stagnant when it comes to making money, when it comes to overall profit. If they were to do something now, I don't necessarily think it would be a great move, just in my opinion, because remember, within their pay-per-views, you're talking about buy rates, within their pay-per-views, they're making about $5 to $7 to $8 million per pay-per-view just for buys alone. So I think that will definitely hurt that, especially for a company that's still they're still growing. It's not even
Yeah.
5 years old yet. So I think it's one of those things where I think it'll eventually happen as long as they're still going. They build up their content. I think it'll eventually happen. I don't think they necessarily need to do it so soon yet, at least in my opinion.
That's fair. AEW's deal with Warner Brothers Discovery was originally believed to be up sometime this year, but that is no longer the case. The Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that the deal with Warner Brothers Discovery expires on December 31st, 2024 now. This would confirm the two sides reached a new agreement earlier this year that would include the new show Collision and gave WBD exclusivity to AEW programming. It was noted that WWE is out of its exclusive negotiating windows with NBC Universal and Fox and is hoping to get a new TV deal for NXT and Raw soon. AEW is currently still in its exclusive window with Warner Brothers Discovery. AEW is hoping that if WWE gets the increase in money they are expecting for their next TV deal, that will increase the value of wrestling on TV and increase AEW's value to Warner Brothers Discovery and or other networks for its next contract. If WWE gets a 40% increase for Raw as it did for SmackDown, we'll discuss that in a bit, that would be $658 million. Of course, Raw and SmackDown combined bring to double the viewers in 18 to 49 as AEW Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. This puts AEW at an estimated value of $329 million per year, according to Wrestling Observer newsletter. However, it is unlikely to get that, although the rumored 200 million to 240 million figure may be attainable even at something like 170 million a year, and AEW would still be profitable. Also of note that we should note as far as the future to AEW pay-per-views and the potential of it coming to Max, our buddy Cassidy Haynes reported on Wednesday that AEW has added a number of new pay-per-views to their schedule in 2023, and now they're adding one more. Cassidy Haynes reported that AEW has been discussing potentially holding another pay-per-view event this year after Full Gear. While nothing has been set in stone, the discussion has gone as far as naming December 29th, 2023 as the potential date for the final AEW pay-per-view of 2023. So very interesting, that news that came out. I actually was hanging out with Cassidy on Wednesday and got to hear the news before he actually reported it. And I was very intrigued by that because it seems to indicate the earlier report from Andrew Zarian of Matman Podcast. Shout outs to him. Got to meet him in person for the first time on Wednesday as well. And he reported that AEW is going to 12 pay-per-views a year starting in 2024. And it seems like it's starting in October, or it started in August, because we've had an August pay-per-view, a September pay-per-view, an October pay-per-view, a November pay-per-view is coming up, and a December pay-per-view, if this report is true. So what do you think about the future of AEW potentially doing 12 pay-per-views a year, maybe available on Max, and this new pay-per-view event that they're going to have in December, or right before New Year's?
Sounds exhausting.
For you, sir, you
That's
don't
what
even
I'm saying.
realize I'm gonna have to do all of this.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
know
It's
it.
like, yeah, it's a good thing for the company. You got to make,
It's
this
a good
is
thing
something
for
I was,
us.
yeah, and well, yeah, I think all around, because this is something that, you know, realistically, a pay-per-view every quarter is not feasible when it comes to certain, like if you're going 4 or 5 years in, you could carry that as as long as you can, but it's not feasible in the long run. So I think 12, although might sound excessive, you kind of understand where they're going with, especially if they can make the money that they can. You're talking about millions of dollars they can make off of pay-per-views. They're gonna do
Millions of dollars.
it.
I'm
But then,
sorry, you said that,
yeah,
it just popped in my
yeah,
head.
that's what I'm saying. Like, but also like when you work with these networks and when you do stuff like this, they're gonna be making some of the calls. So this is definitely a network call, which I mean I can't blame them for. Like you're trying to make the most money. That's the part of any type of business. You're gonna add more content because you want more money. So maybe 12 pay-per-views, it's good. It's also going to be interesting how the storylines and how it carries over from now on, because when they were doing their pay-per-views, that was pretty much a lot of the things with the build-up. Even though the last year has been criticized, like, oh, the build-up hasn't been great to these pay-per-views, and they have a great pay-per-view. Um, that's where it's going to be interesting with like how TK is going to approach this. If you have a pay-per-view each month, how are you going to build that? It's going to be challenging, but it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
I can confirm this, Annika. She says, "Hey fam, I wonder if that involves ROH pay-per-views too." No, it does not. That's AEW. 12 AEW pay-per-views per year was the report from Andrew Zarian. And as far as the AEW deal that read up to December 2024 with Warner Brothers Discovery, that is an AEW exclusive deal. It's not Ring of Honor, but you kind of can say from all the title changes that has gone down the last month and a half, they seem to be trying to make ROH more appeasing for a TV rights deal. They seem to be trying to do that. And that's a great segue to talk about AEW Rampage Grand Slam last night. And speaking of Ring of Honor, the show featured a main event with the Hung Bucks defeating Mogul Embassy in an awesome trios main event to win the ROH World Six-Man Tag Team Championships. Hung Bucks regaining the titles, the Elite holding some gold again in AEW and Ring of Honor. Sting and Darby Allin picked up the victory over Christian Cage and Luchasaurus in a good opening tag team matchup, thanks to the distraction from Nick Wayne. Damn you, Nick Wayne. You shouldn't do that to Christian Cage. Now he's going to haunt you. We had the Acclaim.
I mean, at least Nick Wayne, his video doing pretty good on the channel. So good job, Nick Wayne.
There you go. Thank you, Nick Wayne. The Acclaimed defeated the Dark Order to retain the AEW World Trios Championships. The Righteous beat Best Friends, the Hardys, and the Kingdom to become the number one contenders for Better Than You Bebe's ROH World Tag Team titles at AEW Wrestle Dream. Orange Cassidy, Chris Statlander, and Hook beat Daddy Magic, Cool Hand Ange, and Anna Jay in a trios matchup. You had Sammy Guevara explained his actions from Dynamite Grand Slam before Chris Jericho came out to brawl with the Don Callis family until the numbers got the better of him. But Kenny Omega returned to make the save. This sets up Jericho and Omega teaming up with Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family at AEW Wrestle Dream. Besides Rampage Grand Slam, you also had last Saturday AEW Collision. The show did 467,000 viewers. The show featured Chris Statlander defeating Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, in a great main event to retain the AEW TBS Championship. Ricky Starks and Big Bill beat the Blackpool Combat Club's Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli in a good opening tag team match, with Starks pinning Danielson and then challenging him later to a Texas death match on tonight's Collision. You had FTR retain the AEW World Tag Team titles against Iron Savages. Post-match, the Workhorsemen stepped up as the next challengers for FTR. They face tonight on Collision. And Aussie Open picked up a quick squash win. Post-match, Fletcher and Davis challenged FTR to a rematch 1 year in the making at AEW Wrestle Dream for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So lot went down with AEW Grand Slam Rampage. I thought it was one of the better episodes of Rampage, bookend by two good matches with the opening tag match as well as the trios main event for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. Overall thoughts on Rampage Grand Slam first.
It was a great show. I was fine with the main event. Build up to a lot of things for Wrestle Dream. Pretty much gave what I asked for. So it was good all around.
Yeah, I enjoyed Rampage Grand Slam, watching it back. You know, I got to see it live. I think I only missed live Sting and Darby versus Christian and Luchasaurus, only because that came like right after the Dynamite had ended, and I wanted to see some friends. Yeah, that's supposed to be intermission. It's supposed to last long enough for me to take pictures. AEW.
That's what I did. That's what I did last year's. When they were doing the intermission, I went out to get food because I was like, this is probably the best time I could do it. So I understand, like, you know.
But did you miss Muda? Did you get back in time to your seat for Muda?
No, I did.
Okay,
that was incredible.
Yeah, I was only nervous because I was like, oh, maybe Edge will come out, and I don't want to miss that. But I didn't hear any Edge music, or I didn't hear like the screams from the crowd. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay here.
Nah, I kind of figured because I think I heard his official like free agent date is October 1st. So I'm looking for that.
I've heard conflicting reports. I think Sean Ross Sapp said he didn't know if it ended October 1st or had already ended. So I don't know.
I've been hearing
we shall see.
Yeah, they were saying like at least the official date. Like they were saying, I don't know is that date, but they said by October 1st he's a free agent.
There we go. So maybe Wrestle Dream. And then final. What did you think about Collision in that main event with Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Chris Statlander? I said it on our Collision review, you know, that we did last weekend, but Chris Statlander is quickly becoming one of the best women's champions AEW's ever had.
I agree. She's been working her ass off, especially after those injuries. I still get a little scared knowing like the injuries that she had. So I always get like a little skeptical, but she's really holding her own. I'm really, you know, it's been exciting to see. So hopefully everything still continues.
Absolutely agree with you there. Vala B saying, though, I will say I think Ring of Honor gets a deal because of the title changes. That's what I'm saying. Like right now, you got Eddie Kingston as Ring of Honor World Champion, Samoa Joe as Ring of Honor TV Champion, the Elite as the 6-man tag team champions, MJF the AEW World Champion, and Adam Cole as your tag team champions, Athena killing it as the ROH Women's Championship. It seems like if there is a time for AEW to try to negotiate to get ROH a part of their TV deal, it would be right now to be like, these are the champions of Ring of Honor. How about we put that on TV too?
Yeah. Or you replace it with one of the shows and then you have them, you put more money into Ring of Honor stuff, and that's how you do it.
Get rid of Rampage at this point.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you get rid of Rampage, put them because even so, if you think about it, even if Ring of Honor is averaging right, Rampage gets like what 300K, right? 300K, 400,000K, right?
Yeah.
That would be a good spot for them because that would be kind of acceptable within Ring of Honor because they never had a deal, so it's like whatever they get. It's a plus no matter what.
The most they ever had was HDNet. Not the same.
So I was like,
Oh, we got Eric Isaacs in the chat who says congrats OC, Hook, and Chris for winning the match, but also for that sick great triple suplex. We also got Vala B who says they wouldn't have top AEW stars, literal main eventers holding ROH belts. Has to mean that ROH got a deal and they're the face of the new launch. No, I will say that what I heard during Grand Slam from some good sources was that there is going to be some type of separation from the booking of Ring of Honor from the booking of AEW, which that was my first question when I said AEW was doing 12 pay-per-views a year. I was like, is Tony going to give up Ring of Honor to somebody else? Because he can't do it all. He can't do all that. No, not going to work.
He needs to. He needs to. That's what me and you've been saying since the beginning. Like, yo, he should give it to he still is the owner, but he gives it to somebody who can run it, like a
Yeah.
VP, whatever the case may be, or president, or kind of like what the UFC has with Dana White. Have somebody run it in that aspect, like they run it, they do whatever they want. Just do it like that.
Yeah, it just makes sense to do it in that fashion, but we shall see how that works out for them. We also got Annika. This is very interesting with the Hung Bucks winning. Just make sure they appear on ROH. I believe they will. I say that because MJF and Cole haven't been on ROH since winning the titles, and they won't be on ROH. MJF, they're not going to be on ROH. Like the Elite, yeah, I think that's doable. That's doable. That seems doable. Now, give the book and the pen to my boy Will Washington. If they're gonna have any ROH booker, give it to Will Washington and Bryan Danielson be his top liaison. And we have a super chat donation here from the Negro Buck Nick Jackson, who said, "Who would you guys have book ROH in TK's place?" I have faith in Will Washington, but if you're gonna have like someone with a name take that top role, I would have someone like Jerry Lynn or maybe even a Dustin Rhodes, someone who has experience kind of like being backstage, controlling matches, because a lot of Ring of Honor is just going to be agenting matches and coming up with a few storylines. I feel like those guys have the minds. Dean Malenko's another one that you can have and they can book it. Or you can have Bryan Danielson be the top and he could book Collision and our Ring of Honor. What do you think, Josh?
I think similar. I think what you said is pretty spot on. I think Dustin would be a good fit, but that's also something like if he really wants to do that, you know what I mean? Because we could say, hey, I think this person could do it, but then it's like, do they really want to move? I know he does like this. He does the stuff in the school. He does the stuff in the factory. I think that'd be a good move. Washington, I don't know much about like what he knows. But if you want something like a fresh aspect of things, I think he'll be a good fit. Just have a team. Like if you need a team, just make a team as well. I think that'll be fine as well.
Yeah, I think that's always been the best thing about that. You have that group of people that you can call on. So I say, yeah, team is the best route. Finally, before we get into all the WWE news, CM Punk update, because
how is there a CM Punk up? Like how he's fired?
According to a report by House of Wrestling, see, I told y'all he got the diary, y'all. CM Punk is not looking to pursue any type of litigation against All Elite Wrestling and Tony Khan following his recent termination from the company earlier this month. It was also noted that Punk said to be relieved now that he's finally done with all the day-to-day drama that was constantly following him at All Elite Wrestling. It's unknown if AEW or Khan are attempting any legal action on their end against Punk. The report also notes that things appear quiet between both sides at the moment. Of course, as previously reported, Punk recently returned to MMA broadcast commentary last weekend during for CFFC 125. During the broadcast, when the idea of a post-fight show was brought up, Punk said he'll have some time on his hand for the next 2 months, which has made fans speculate online if Punk will be free from any possible AEW obligations around that time and if he's planning a WWE return. It's still unknown if Punk had any type of non-compete clause or period in his contract that can still be enforced as a result of his firing with cause. Khan announced Punk's termination on the Collision on September 2nd, and the event saw this came as a result of the physical altercation between Punk and Jack Perry at AEW All in London at Wembley Stadium. So, seems like all is done with Punk and AEW. From a 0 to 100 to wrap this up, what is the likelihood that this is all over between Pepsi Phil and Tony Khan and AEW? Josh, to you.
-5.
Pretty much you hit it right on the nose. I think it's at a 1. It's a 1. It's a 1. It's coming, y'all. He ain't fooling me. He ain't fooling me no more. No. No litigation for now, but we're going to get a podcast. We're getting something from Pepsi Phil. But from Pepsi Phil to a Mocha brother. We got a special guest joining us right now. He is a good brother that he makes every day he's on set day. You see him over on WrestleTalk podcast, the WrestleTalk news. Man, they might as well make this beautiful man the face of that whole YouTube channel, whole website, because this man's doing great and beautiful things. He is my Mocha brother. Niangi is back on Tru Heel Heat.
Brothers, the way I have to reach out to you on WhatsApp to get me back on this show, that's how bad it is. I have to be like, hey, Sid, hey, I know you're busy, but I want to be on your show again, please. Can you book me on, please?
You booked yourself on. You told me the date and everything. You was like, I'm free on this day. Alex, you free too?
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm shocked that we don't do like a monthly show. That's what I'm thinking. Like every month, like we both come on because we talk about how we miss working together. And I'm like,
exactly.
I wonder who owns their own YouTube channel without any sort of drama, without any sort of hidden backstage beef that I can't be on the show. Who do I know? That's you, man. That's
Eureka.
Eureka. Before I begin, first of all, thank you so much to everyone in the chat. Love you guys. Please continue to grow this YouTube channel. It's one of the best YouTube channel around. My guy had an interview with Marty Jannetty. I mean, what going with that? I know he's a Monsoon Morella adjacent part of the family, but still, you know what I'm saying? That this guy is doing big things. He's doing shows on Fightful. He's writing on WrestleTalk. I call him my OG because that's the respect I give him. He needs to be respected as much as that he gives me my flowers. This is me. I'm like, this is your bouquet. Here's your bouquet, because he's one of the hardest working guys.
We need to get you on like the Top Guy JJ schedule. Top Guy JJ does one show a month. So we just need Sat to do what we're gonna basically schedule it where it's 1 week JJ and then 1 week Sat. So we don't bring all that energy to one episode.
The combustible elements and who gets to talk, zero mic time.
Over each other.
Exactly. No, but brother, let me put you over, because I especially know your partner wants you to do stuff, but you somehow make it work, having twins, being a father, a partner, running your own YouTube channel, then freelancing as a writer, then freelancing, doing another show on another website. I salute you. You're one of the best people in this space. I know you're saying how ROH should have Will Washington. It's true. I think it should be a combination of Will Washington. Jimmy Jacobs is around somewhere. Get him involved.
That's true.
Chris Hero's lurking around somewhere.
From what I've heard, Jimmy Jacobs has become like Tony Khan's right-hand man.
Why not? I mean, I feel like the story of Adam Cole and MJF probably got his fingerprints all over it. So
I said that. I said that from the very beginning. That has his feet, because he has his fingerprints on that whole Festival of Friendship and the Jericho KO thing, and this fits that bill to a T.
Yeah, so because I know what happened was the Dark Order punching air is when Tony Khan took the reins of AEW, right? Because I had to Tempest, shout out to Tempest, he's the one that reminded me that's when it happened. Tony, I know you love the adulation and the glory. Please spread the wealth, because you can argue the best times of AEW is when everyone was involved, when everyone's voices was heard. That's why when people said, what could AEW do to fix things? I put the Cody cupping ear, because I said when Cody left, you can say bad juju start happening when you lost the Codester. So in terms of ROH, I definitely think it should be a combination of Maria running the women's division. You got Will Washington, he's got this encyclopedic memory for wrestling. You've got Chris Hero lurking somewhere. You got Jimmy Jacobs around. Not Dustin Rhodes. I'm sorry. This is the guy that got rude to Lufisto. So he's got no respect for indie legends.
That is true.
Lufisto be like, I heard you're a piece of crap. I hate people from Montreal.
I love that. I love that Ninja Mortis said, who's flat? Sat's flat. But we have another special guest, because we can't have a Daily Boys reunion without the OG Daily Boy, the GOAT of the Daily Boys. And like Annika says, you can't have a great Mocha Saturday. We got a little bit of leche with Josh, but we need some more leche. And he is the lightest person in the room, but he's still on CP time. That's why he gets a cookout plate with extra barbecue sauce. He is the man and the editor over at Daily Mail. It is Alex McCarthy back on Tru Heel Heat.
Bringing the vanilla. What's up, fellas?
What's going on, good sir? How are you doing?
First of all, how is Top Guy JJ doing 12 shows a year? What's going on?
The dates of the schedule.
JJ Lesnar, what the fuck is going on?
He owns his own what is it, Bath and Body Works? Yeah. So we had to be a little bit, flexible with his schedule.
I need some of that JJ money. Shit, I tell you. Amazing to be with you again, fellas. Thank you very much for the invite. You can see I'm in my mum's house for the old ass pictures that are behind me, but nonetheless, I was like, you babysit the dog and the kids. I got some shit to do. So very excited to be back with you, fellas. What's up?
Nice haircut, by the way, brother. Look at him haircut. Show me your sides. Show me the sides.
Oh, well, we're gonna give him the spotlight. We gotta give him the spotlight quick here.
Ooh,
look at the fresh cut. Look at the fresh cut out here in these streets. Oh man, look at that. Look at that.
Listen, it's not every day we get trimmed up.
The female viewers are going up. Irish whip out here showing
They were like, Irish whip,
Irish whip, Irish whip. Love the
call. SP3, I've actually seen Sat twice in recent months, right? I made the trip to his house, right? Yeah. Went and met the fam properly, and we had our kids fucking up his garden, basically. But they were together. It was great.
His kids didn't want to leave in the end. They all got upset. They had to leave, yeah.
I mean, that's partly because of the 2-hour journey, I think. But, it's fine. It's fine. I put the work in to see my friends. And then I say that. I totally made SP3 come to me in New York. But still, either way.
You did, but that's what I do. This is what I do for.
That is what you do.
I did the same thing. I did the same thing for Cassidy. He made me go all the way back to my old stomping grounds in Queens, right by the stop I used to get off for St. John's University. I had PTSD. I didn't know where I was going. I went the wrong way because I was like, oh my God, he got me out here in Queens where I dropped out of college. Oh no. So
back to the scene of the crime.
I go out of my way for my friends. Whenever you're in New York, it doesn't matter. I'll go on a train.
No. You did that for me. I'll give you that. But I saw Sat, and then obviously we got to reunite at Wembley, man, which was awesome as well. It was cool because so Sat's partner, dare I reveal, was enjoying a drink, right? She was having a good time, wasn't she, Sat, right? And
too much.
So being a gentleman, right? I was like, hey, do you want a drink, right? Like before the show, and she was like, yeah, cool. And I was like, what do you want? And I can't even remember what it was now. And I went to the bar, and I was like, yeah, one of those. And they were like, that'll be $13.75. They said. And I was like, fuck, we are in London. Shit.
It's worse in New York, Alex. I bought Cass a drink at Arthur Ashe Stadium. You know how much one cocktail was? $17.
But that reminds me, though, like, I think WrestleMania this year in LA, in the, I always want to call it Staples, but it's crypto now, right?
Yeah,
and $20 for a beer. And that's not a pint. It's a beer, like a can of beer. I was watching Sat's missus like, you enjoy that drink. You enjoy
that drink.
I think it was a Coke and rum and Coke. She's a rum and Coke kind of person. So I think it was rum and Coke he spent money on. So yeah, sorry.
Every sip, I was like, that's £2.
Hey, listen. She's a casual viewer. She got social anxiety, so she was stoking up on him alcohol to get ready for the show. But she had a great time.
I'm totally joking, obviously.
Of course he is. Listen, my brother, when I see him, every time I hug him, he's built like he's stacked. It's like a bunch of phone books. Putting your arms around a bunch of phone books.
That says that because he dwarfs me and he tries to make me feel better. Right?
I'm the only dad here with a dad bod between the three.
No, listen. I saw Sat in the bar. And he was like, hey, everyone's telling me I'm jacked. And he's like, I just worked out this week for the show. man was in his garden like, I'm going to see people in the pub. Oh, shit. I did.
I did.
Sad is the guy that would have done like 20 push-ups before he
Listen,
walked out the door.
Maggie was putting me
Not
over.
the rest is backstage with the elastic bands. That's
Yes. He went to the he flexed in front of a mirror and it didn't look right, so he went into the bathroom and did like what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, woo!
Oh my god!
Look at that! Look at that! Huh? And look at that! Huh? Look at that! Look at the elasticity. Look at the build every day.
Black Popper Pump if I've ever seen
Listen,
one. Look at it.
Since All In, yeah, I've been working out since All In every morning before work. Maggie from Fightful Can They Coexist? She was shocked at how big I am in real life. I said, come on, woman. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Look at that. Hi, guys.
Are you done now?
You are an attractive man. Let me tell you that.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful too. You're beautiful.
Someone in the
In
chat
fact,
said
there's
I'm
no ugly person in the Daily Boys. To be a part of Daily Boys, you need to be a dad and attractive.
That's it. That is
go.
the basic criteria.
We're gonna make Josh an honerary Daily Boy because we need some Hispanic representation.
Wait,
Yeah,
SP, your blood. What's your blood saying though? SP, let's not expose you. Come on, you're a New Yorker.
I'm part Panamanian. That's not enough blood though. We need more. We need a full-blooded Italian.
You know how Vince McMahon was like trying to find the next Rey Mysterio for years, right?
Exactly.
Tap into that Latino market. That's Josh for us. Get him in.
Less problematic than Alberto Del Rio. Yes. Let's go.
It's a very high bar. It's a very high bar.
Let's go. And he speaks English. Let's go. I don't know how we always get off the rails. This is like the off the rails we usually have at the beginning of the show. We're having it now, so you guys expect it on Tru Heel Heat. But let's talk a little bit about last night's SmackDown. I know Seth I did a little review, so if you want a more in-depth review, you can go over to WrestleTalk when we're done over here. But let's talk about last night's SmackDown, which featured the Bloodline basically rebounding and getting back on the same page. Well, sort of. You had Jimmy Uso basically taking on a leadership role to set up a tag team showdown with himself and Solo Sikoa versus John Cena and AJ Styles at Fastlane. This led to a contract signing with Cena coming out first, but Styles was attacked backstage by Jimmy and Solo that ended with Sikoa delivering a big splash off of scaffolding into a crash pad. I mean, AJ Styles through a table. Styles was stretchered out while Cena went out for some revenge on the Bloodline, who came out to gloat, but he was beaten up by Jimmy and Solo for a very, very, very long time.
No friend.
Oh my God. Like no friends at all. Jesus Christ, he can't see his friends, and you can't see him. LWO's Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar beat Street Profits after Dawkins was distracted by Bobby Lashley interfering in the match. Later on, Bobby Lashley called out the Street Profits and said he wants back his suits, and if they want to be soft, they could sit in catering. He also had 2023 Miz and Morrison, aka Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, A-Town Down Under, defeat the Brawling Brutes in a good tag team matchup, and Io Sky defeated Asuka in a very good match to retain the WWE Women's Championship thanks to a distraction by Bayley, who was attacked by Charlotte Flair. So very eventful and a noteworthy episode of SmackDown. We'll start with Alex here. Alex, what did you think about last night's show?
I mean, you said it there, eventful. I remember many years of SmackDown that were not eventful, right? Yes. That were just passing time. And, I'm all for these days of, we had developments in terms of story, as we've just mentioned there with, Cena and Bloodline. And I know LA Knight was maybe meant to factor in. I suppose you'll get to that shortly, or you already have. And we also had a great match, like a title match. Like that, really, I'd like to see Asuka and Io do it over pay-per-view, to be honest. But that was a great TV title match. That's what I would call that. It used its time extremely well. The strikes, man, were great. even I think Oscar with a shotgun drop kick off the top, and it was kind of like, you know, going toe for toe sort of thing. You knew that as far as TV title matches go, there had to be some kind of shenanigans afoot. So, you know, our WWE minds knew what was coming there, but still, man, I thought it was a decent episode. I'm actually quite a fan of the Austin Theory, Grayson Waller tandem.
I am too. I love
it.
them together. I'm not saying that as an insult, calling them 2023 Miz and Morrison. That was what they needed back in that time. And I feel like this is what Austin Theory really needed.
Yeah, man. I think they bounce off each other actually really well. And Theory maybe had a bit of a narrow route before that. That it was just, and Waller, when you think about it too, because both of them have just been rubbing up against anyone who's anyone for the past year, right? Like, I interviewed Grayson Waller the other day, and you actually look at this year, man. He had a match with Rey Mysterio on SmackDown. He had Edge at MSG, right? Like he's been, The Rock tweeted him. He's obviously had Cena. Well, I was there for it, Money in the Bank. Like, man, they've been positioning that man, right? Yeah. And the same with Austin Theory. The man beat Cena at WrestleMania. He's been in these situations, right? So you can see how the trajectory for both of them, like in a weird way, it is reminiscent, maybe putting them together if you did so in a serious way of like Edge and Orton once upon a time, where they were both in the Ascension. I mean, that was a lot more violent, that duo. But still, I mean, in the sense of WWE have got big hopes for these two, and they did for those two.
Yeah, I think probably WWE is probably like what you're saying, looking at it as rated RKO, but it's Miz and Morrison. It's two guys who haven't made like RKO. People tend to forget that rated RKO, Edge and Orton had already won the world title. Like it was two main event heels teaming up together. These are two mid card heels that are coming up together. So I think WWE probably thinks it's rated RKO, but it's closer to Miz and Morrison.
I think WWE look at these two and think two future main event players. Yeah. They've certainly been like booking them this year like they think that. So it's interesting to see where they can go together. Funny thing that Grayson Waller did say, which leads me to the main event actually this week. He did confirm that, and I know there's been pictures, but he confirmed that there was a queue of people waiting for The Rock last week to get a picture. Yes. All right. Which he was telling me. And I was thinking, well, John Cena is shit out of luck because there's no queue for John. Nobody was coming to help that man in the main event. Like you said, man, just a bit too long, right? To like hammer the point home. Because you kind of thought, okay, well, something is coming and just never came.
I think my favorite thing of watching SmackDown is how every week they don't seem to know how to get the bloodline back on track since the Jimmy Uso turn. It's like, and I literally called it after SummerSlam. I was like, this was a mistake and you may have jumped the shark. And here we are 7-8 weeks later. And it's just, the interest is died down, and everybody's interest, except for Jay, because they got him the hell up out of here. Everybody's interest is down. Solo felt like a guy on the rise. Now he feels like a guy that's stuck. Jimmy's whole new theme song goes against what he's doing on TV. His whole theme song is "I was born a king." They said family first. I put that in the past. You're standing right next to your family. It's mind-boggling. Sat, God bless you for having to review this show every single week since SummerSlam. What did you think about last night's show and the latest development for the Bloodline?
I want to skip to the part when you guys were talking about Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. I'm a noted hater of Austin Theory. I did put him over with the Rock segment because the Rock didn't bury him hard enough and he seemed quite present. So I did give him his compliments last week. I said on the podcast, which kind of shocked, it made Tempest have this kind of like tunnel vision or like the vision of the future. I said this pairing is designed for down the line for Grayson Waller to turn Austin Theory into a babyface.
Oh my God, I can't imagine.
That's the only reason why.
See it, yeah.
Miz and Morrison is the same thing I said. I said Morrison is Austin Theory, Miz is Grayson Waller. Which of the two is more slimier? Because Austin Theory is a bit of a thickhead, right? So you can himbo, you can feel sorry for him. Grayson Waller is the one that's more sneaky, it's more conniving, it's more like, he's the muscle, I'm going to use him to get where I need to be. He got his first victory ever teaming up with Austin Theory. So he's using him. This is a guy that got rid of Sanka after 2 weeks. So he has no allegiance to anyone. If you watch NXT, you know what I'm talking about. Grayson Waller is a loner. He uses people. He's using Austin Theory. It's a whole thing where I feel like this is probably, if it gets over, WrestleMania. I can see them two facing each other at WrestleMania because I'm looking at every pairing right now. Where could this be for WrestleMania? I look at LWO. I'm thinking Santos versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania possibly. So when I look at what they're doing right now, in my head, they're kind of pre-booking of where potentially could be for WrestleMania for them. Jimmy Uso, I said it already. Bloodline don't have enough members, so they need someone like Jimmy in there. Because I made a joke that in the Bloodline, Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa are like a part of a friendship group, but they're not close in the friendship group. So you left them to themselves. It's quite awkward. All they can do is talk about is Roman. That's the only thing that keeps them in common. So you need someone like Jimmy just to create some levity and talk to Paul Heyman, because Solo can talk himself, but Solo's more effective in the group as the silent but deadly assassin. And also, Jimmy Uso by himself is not working. He's one-dimensional. They're trying to do a thing.
They never even tried. He literally went back on the heel turn the very next show, and then the very next week he was alone on his own for 10 minutes with the Cena promo, and then he got pushed backstage by AJ and told, "You leave the Bloodline when we tell you to leave the Bloodline." He was like, "Okay."
the original
story.
The original explanation for the term was shit as well.
Yes.
Let's not, as far as a jumping off point goes, like, I'll double back actually. If the end goal is, and everyone was saying at the time, oh yeah, but the Usos want to face each other at WrestleMania. Like, great, but it's way too early, right? Like the story beats. If we were getting to somewhere in like a month or 6 weeks, fine. 6 months? It's more than that. It's like what? Fuck. It's like 7 months. Like, no, Jesus, man.
He needs it. Jimmy needs it.
But Alex, you would think that this company would have learned their lesson, because they literally did this earlier this year when they had Trish turn early on Becky. And we all complained about how that feud was dragged the hell out. And then the goal was to get them to SummerSlam. And then they didn't even have the match at SummerSlam, guys. There is people need to really start acknowledging the multiple of mistakes WWE has done since SummerSlam. That's why I get kind of upset, is because it feels like some people don't want to acknowledge the fact.
I acknowledge, but I am thinking of, like, for example, Jimmy by himself. If we continued with him being a solo wrestler by himself, right, he would have been a third-rate heel behind Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. You don't want to be that.
Really.
He's going from being a main event of WrestleMania. Being part of the hottest storyline, to being a third-rate heel, struggling because they haven't figured out who he is.
He honestly could have been the top heel set. If he comes out after SummerSlam and that whole segment with Roman, he responds with, okay, super kick to Roman, super kick to Solo. I'm saying the whole song, I've been listening to his song quite often. The whole song says, family first, I put that in the past. He should have came out and kicked everybody's face off.
Being like devil's avocado as I like to be sometimes, yeah, you could argue that's what he's trying to do in the Bloodline. You see him, he's not listening. He's signing contracts. He's not doing anything within the permission of Roman. He's influencing Solo's behavior. So you can see that this is a guy that's a bit out of control at the moment. Because I said it on the podcast earlier, they need to change the dynamic in the Bloodline. He can't be boring Jimmy anymore. He can't be Jimmy happy to be there. He can't be Jimmy want to have a tag team champion, smiley, happy, whatever you say, sir. So they need to change the dynamic. The dynamic needs to be, he's the wild card. Roman doesn't like him. He doesn't like Roman, but they're using each other because they need to progress each other's goals and everything else. Because think about it. He kicked Roman in the face. What was this consequence? Yeah, to beat him up. He came back. What more can you do? The fear's gone. The fear's gone.
Unless he's trying to break the bloodline from like within, but then even that is like a weird way to get there. What I think is an interesting thing to say is like, we were discussing this, like, when we had our show, like I was convinced that they were in actual fact building to The Rock and Roman, right? I always thought they were. And obviously that didn't, for whatever reason last year, The Rock was very kind of vague about why it fell apart. We wanted to do something big. Shut up.
Lies.
Two words. No,
We're
3 words.
live. We're live. Stop saying we're live in a promo, Rock. Like
Vince
anyway,
McMahon.
That's Dwayne. That wasn't Rock. That was Dwayne. That was
Vince
Dwayne.
McMahon
Listen.
allegations was the reason, Dwayne. We know you can't say it. It's okay.
Yeah, but yeah, either way, like, you know, he kept saying, you know, when the merger's done, blah, blah, blah. So it leads me to believe that next year actually probably is somewhere that they could do it. Anyway, does the dominoes fall as a result of that? Because that is obviously the dominant, like that is the Bloodline storyline, really. When you think about, is Roman the top of the chain or is it The Rock? I think that's pretty much the story to be told. And if they are to get back around to that, what pieces do you need in place? You know what I mean? Like, do we need the Usos as part of it, or Jimmy and Jay? And what about Solo's kind of rise? Because post Cody, I was, you know, and certainly the way he was positioned on TV as well, I thought he was an integral part of the story of where Solo lies here. Is it with his brothers, Roman? Does he do his own thing? So I think if we are heading to Rock Roman next year now, which, you know, we've got ramifications to talk about for Cody in another conversation. But if we do that, it's like, what does that mean for the rest of the Bloodline and this intricate story that Heyman told us they were weaving? I think you'll start to see that it's not, you know, all symmetrically done. It's not all in play and in pieces, because they're kind of dancing to whatever is the top of the story. And as we saw with Roman and Cody this year, you can't tell me that 6-7 months before that, obviously Cody was out injured and the Rumble happens. But before Cody comes back, they're probably thinking it's still Rock and Roman to a certain point, right? When did Vince get done? Last summer, right?
Basically the same week that Cody goes down with his injury is the same week the first allegation came out in the Wall Street Journal. So that's why I'm like, yeah, Rock, we know why you didn't do WrestleMania 39. Like, hey, you don't have to make it sound all coy. We pretty much know it was that, and around that same time he had all his DC drama. So like, it was a multitude of reasons.
And now we've got Hollywood strikes, right? And like the merger is done, and you're like, man's got some time. Like, why do you think Cena's hanging around? He ain't got nothing to do, right?
The strike's nearly over, though. The strike's nearly over. So them guys gonna be packing themselves and leaving. So it'll be great.
It will be great, he says.
It'll be.
So you're telling me you do? Hang on, Sat, you wouldn't want to see Rock and Roman? Is this what you're trying to tell me?
This is a trap. Last time I said I think it should be Cody versus Roman, you got me taken out of the stream last time, and then everybody jumped on the Cody train, and I was like, Alexander McCarthy, the same one that kicked him off the stream. He's now on the Cody train as well, huh?
Whoa!
Because no.
Hang
People got on the Cody train when the plan A was gone. When plan A is gone, then yeah, you go with plan B.
You know what it is, guys? It's kind of like a Netflix series. I'm obsessed with him finishing his story. Like, he has to finish. Listen, you guys have been watching wrestling for a long time. You know, once you've missed the boat, that boat's never coming back.
I thought they did miss it. I think it's been missed.
They did. They did. It's missed. It's gone. It's gone. He had his moment. I am very much asking the question this week. Who do y'all think out there, people watching, is going to finish their story first? HBO's Winning Time or Cody Rhodes?
Guys, there's a reason why I'm saying, so if Cody had won, you can argue he already had some doubts saying that he didn't have enough adversity. That voice would have grown bigger had he won the title. They'd be like, he won the Rumble, he was number 30, he's now a champion, where's the adversity? There would have been people throughout the summer, he's winning too much. He beat Brock Lesnar twice. So by him losing again, unfortunately, I don't agree. He should have won. I'm with you. He should have won. But by doing this stupid route, this convoluted route, this story they're telling, this impactful, this great story they're telling, they have to have him win the title next year. That's why I'm of the advocate of 2 Roman matches. I know SP said it with a risk of injure Roman. Listen, that guy barely wrestles. You know, so he can do
exactly why he would easily get injured if he wrestled back-to-back.
If Yokozuna, who's bigger than him, less.
Do you want to go back and watch that Lex Luger match from WrestleMania 10? It lasted about 6 minutes.
Exactly. Give me a 6-minute match.
If Cody beats Roman next year, everyone's just to go, why didn't you just do it last year? I honestly don't think you will have gained anything from the year in between of what Cody's been through. Personally,
I'm with you guys. Listen, I'm not even defending nothing. Cody should have won. The match is still on the entrance.
Cody, hang on, right? Roman to now. So let's say from WrestleMania to this day, has it been important that Roman's been the champion? in
No,
anything that
he's not even a champion. He's a belt holder. He's not a champion. He's a belt holder. He's holding the belt and he comes out with it. No one challenges him except for LA Knight. How's he a champion? He's a belt holder. I've got a belt as well to keep my pants up. He might as well put it to keep his pants up. Because the word of a champion is you defend it. He doesn't defend it. So he's a belt holder. He goes, maybe my cousin can challenge me for my belt. Holding the belt. You know what I'm saying? That ain't a championship. It's a championship on Raw. He's holding a belt. That's not a championship.
That's
I know
there's a champion on Raw. It's Gunther. It's not Seth Rollins. It's not Seth Rollins. Sorry. Trey Jones saying sometimes plan B is plan A. In this case, Cody being plan B, he was actually plan C because they asked Stone Cold before they asked Cody to fill in that spot. So he was actually plan C.
But he has to finish the story because it's become a meme. It's like he has to win it because that pop, I don't know how long that pop's gonna last because you know how WWE fans are, and he's too much of a goody two shoes. And we're in the post-Cena era. We know how fans can be.
You're gonna have me sing again this week, Sat. You know what happened last week at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time?
No, what happened?
Paul Levesque received a call from Cody Runnels, and he said, "I wrote you, Paul. You still ain't calling. I left my cell, my pager, and my home phone at the bottom. I left 2 letters back in autumn. You must have got them. There must have been a problem at WWE HQ or something." Like he knows. I think Cody knows that. Yeah, your story might have to wait another year.
Yeah, I got to say that. Like, I want to see Cody finish the story, but I think it'd almost be force fed now if it was against Roman, and it wouldn't be as impactful. And I think, whatever anyone thinks, Rock versus Roman is easily, I can't even think what number 2 is, easily the biggest match you could possibly do in professional wrestling. Easily. I'm not saying it's the best. It's the biggest. I can say that.
The other biggest can't happen anymore. It would be CM Punk versus Kenny Omega. That can't happen anymore. So that's it. This is the biggest match you could possibly give us. And you cannot tell me that anyone out there, even Zach, Mr. Devil's Advocate, believes Cody Rhodes is going to be as hot as he was before WrestleMania 39, before WrestleMania 40. He has spent 5 months on WWE TV after being on AEW all these years because he got injured for 6 months. Like, he only spent 5 months on WWE. He was brand new, fresh, coming out of AEW and went into WrestleMania against Roman when the Bloodline storyline was at its peak. And right now, it ain't at its peak, folks. So,
to quote Big Boss Man, my daddy, my daddy, my daddy. He's got to do it for his wham, my daddy. He has to do it for his daddy. Ambulance. Yeah, my daddy, my daddy. So that belt, not Seth's belt, that belt that Roman's holding is an evolved version of the one he wanted to give to his dad. I'm hooked on that story. Listen, I want Rock and Roman too. This is not our fault. This is their fault. They're put us in this situation.
They're pitting us against each other, Sam.
Yes. They have 2 nights of Mania. Come on. You're a Wrestle Kingdom guy. Come on, you're a Wrestle Kingdom guy. Come on, SB, you're a Wrestle Kingdom guy. If Naito can fight twice,
but
Okada can fight twice.
See, Josh was here last week where I told everybody watching, you guys have to realize what you're watching. When you watch New Japan, you expect great matches. When you watch WWE, expect the biggest stars, not great matches. So, yes, Cody and Roman might have a better matchup than Rock and Roman. There's no way it's going to be bigger.
It's a business.
Can I have both?
Business, man.
Guys, can we not have both? Why is that not an option? Can we not have night 1 and night 2?
No. You had your WrestleMania main event. Your main event, WrestleMania Night 1, guess what? Against CM Punk. Because if anyone can help Cody Rhodes cope with The Rock taking his WrestleMania main event, it is Phil Brooks.
No, not. Listen, let's not have a hypocritical comeback. That will go against everything said in Rampage. Hey, you can't go back to a place that made you sick in the first place.
He gonna do it because CM Punk is a hypocrite.
And I see it already. You know why? And I already see the response. And I already see the response. Vince doesn't run the day-to-day. I deal with Nick Khan. Me and Triple H have men fences. You already see it already.
That's a husky CM Punk, by the way.
I'm not saying CM Punk.
That's CM Punk doing the John Laurinaitis impersonation.
I thought John Laurinaitis. That's what I thought it was.
That is the sound of a guy that's been sucking on CM Punk's nuts for ages, and now they have to spit it out to make excuses for him coming back. They have to make excuses for him coming back. Vince is not there anymore. Nick Khan runs it. Things have changed.
We talked all of that, and we haven't even got to the biggest WWE news of the week because post-merger, the other shoe has dropped on September 21st. WWE announced some talent cuts. 24 stars in total from their roster were released this week. Starting off yesterday with probably the biggest star included in this release list. Matt Riddle was announced. Of course, we'll get into the reason why Matt Riddle has been released. Also, Mustafa Ali, he was the first to announce that he had been released and no longer working with the company. Emma, who just came back to the company last year and literally peaked in her first matchup where she faced Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Like, they did not care about her after that. Like, no one can tell me otherwise that they cared about her after that. You also got Rick Boogs, who seemed like someone they were high on for a big amount of time.
Triple H
Aaliyah. Yeah, Triple H. There's a lot of these guys that Triple
Elias
H
Elias and Boogs, bro. Elias and Boogs are the Triple H, chopping block, man. What can I say?
Yeah. Aaliyah, who just struggled to
Puked
ever kind of find a...
Same
Why'd you have to mention that? Why do you have to mention that?
She was in the same class as the 4 horsewomen. You talk about, but then again, yeah, her career on the main roster lasted better than Ruby Riott, than Sarah Logan.
Oh, gee. Oh, will you stop?
Then Emma. She's a former tag team champion, fastest pin ever. She's got a Hall of Fame resume.
They're getting rid of families too, as they've released both Elias and Ezekiel have been released from their contracts. Speaking of family, Emma's boyfriend, fiance or husband, I don't know at this point.
Fiance.
Riddick Moss,
fiance, I believe.
Fiance Riddick Moss has been released. Top Dollar has been released from the company. Shelton, yeah,
he's bad. Sorry, he's bad. Needs to be said.
He's like, he got no bars.
I watched, he put a video, I think, the other day, and he's on a boat rapping, and one of his lyrics was like, I've been the best rapper since the day I was born. I thought, fuck off. Would you? You can't say that. You just can't.
Shelton Benjamin is gone from the company. Probably one of the more shocking ones. I know Tempest over at WrestleTalk was most shocked about this one. Dolph Ziggler released from the company after what? Nearly 20 years, 19 years with the company. Quincy Elliott from NXT, also Jesus, Bryson, Bryson Montana released. Dana Brooke, who had been getting some TV time over on NXT, the former 15-time 24/7 champion Dana Brooke, by the way. Also Mace and Mansoor, which probably the people that probably had the most potential that we never saw until the day they were released, because this week they were just saying everything, and we'll talk about that in a bit here. You also have Daba Kato, who was originally known as Commander Aziz on the main roster. You also have Shanky, who had the dancing gimmick just last year. Ulysses Leon, who recently got injured over on NXT. She has been released from the company. Daniel MacArthur, who was a developmental talent, was released. Kevin.
Great pick.
I don't know.
That's
you
a gimmick I want to see. Look at
that. Kevin Ventura Cortez has been released. Another PC person. Ikemen Jiro Jacket Time has been released from the company. Alexis Gray, Brooklyn Barrow, and Abdul Adiri Fitzgerald has been released from the company. Yes, the name I cannot pronounce. I hate. But yes, a whole bunch of cuts this week, 24 stars in total. I will start with Josh. What was the release that surprised you the most from this week?
Probably Ziggler, just because of the amount of years that he's been there. Probably just that one. That was like probably the most surprising. Everyone else, I mean, a lot of them weren't being used. So it wasn't really shocking. It's just kind of crazy that Emma and Riddick Mox, they get engaged this week, and then they're like, "Oh, congrats! Here's your walking papers."
Josh, is that the first couple to ever be released like together?
In a week.
It'll be,
In a week. In a week.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Together,
on the
you know what I mean, on
day.
the same day. Like, you know, I mean, Emma was especially harsh, man. Not the fact she got released. Like, I could kind of get it. She's not in the plans, but oh my god, we're going to Perth. Oh, well, they are. I'm not.
That
I'm,
was that was just like, that call came out of nowhere for her.
Yeah, she shared the
Very
elimination
cold.
chamber, and then she said, "Never mind, no longer with WWE." It was awkward.
That's so bad. It's just like, damn, yo.
They don't give a flying fuck.
You announce your own release. That's how bad it is. They don't even care. You tell.
Yeah, they
people you don't work
used to remember the days when they used to have like the WWE.com, like we wish them well in future 11, reach them
Don't get
well in
that no
future.
more.
They don't even do that no more.
You tell people.
Literally, they like you tell them.
You tell them find your ass.
Yeah, the one that confuses me too a little bit is the Ali one, because he was asking for his release for 2 years, and then all of a sudden they're using him again, and then they finally released him. I'm like,
I think the main thing there, just to give my 2 cents, is that he was making main roster money, and he's only down in NXT. I think he wanted out for a long time too, man. Like, this is a guy who, like, irrepressibly. Chelsea Green's like this too, like irrepressibly putting together creative pitches, and they can do this character and this story, and they just don't want to hit. They just didn't want to hear it, man. Like they want you to pitch ideas, but they don't want you to pitch ideas. Do you know what I mean? Yes, it depends who you are. So I think he's super talented, Ali. I'm big fan of his, and it's weirdly I think he would do great in like an AEW environment or something. But I think they got a bit sick of all his pitches, and he got sick of that place, and bound to happen.
Yeah, I agree, because what you're saying with him like pitching stuff, that's what people say like is an obstacle in AEW. If you're not able to come up with pitches, you don't get TV time. If he's able to do it, he can do all the stuff he wants to do. Look at Malachi Black, all the goofy stuff he's been doing in AEW. So like,
and his work,
they let you do what you want to do. Yeah, it has. I mean, he got injured though, so that's only the down part. Yeah, that's the downside about that. But no, I agree with that. Sat, who do you think is going to be the most successful from this group of releases this week?
If I talk about active wrestlers, I would say Mustafa Ali off rip, because that's a guy like Alex said, to piggyback off what he was saying, brimming with so much creativity. You had people like Austin Creed, Xavier Woods saying he can't wait to see what he can do. And also, I think he's one of the guys to go to AEW for 2 reasons. Number one, from Chicago, like Tony Khan, one part of it is Tony Khan half Indian or half Pakistani, right?
I think Pakistani, yeah.
Yeah. Ali too. He's half Pakistani too, because he's half Indian, half Pakistani. He can relate to that, and I feel like he can fit in any slot they want him to do in AEW.
He's like, he can relate.
This contract, Ali.
But it's true though, because there must be a part of Tony Khan thinking, I have every single representation except for Asian representation. Yeah, I got Satnam Singh, but I don't have Pakistani. There's certain things that he doesn't have.
Asian.
Pardon?
He got Konosuke Takeshita.
That's a different kind of Asian. That's East Asian. I'm talking about South Asian. He's like, I don't have a big South Asian star.
Now we specifying on what direction they in.
Yes. Listen, I needed to. The word Asian gets thrown around a lot. It's like, which one are you? Sure. So I had to differentiate. So
I must say, by the way, Tony Khan's dad is born in Pakistan. Just to clear it up. So yes, they are Pakistani.
Yes, there you go. Journalist, works for Daily Mail Online. Yeah, gotta double check it. Okay, another thing as well. Yulisa Leone, apparently she asked for her release. I think was it last year as well, something like that, before she got injured. So she's one of the people like, you're not happy to be here, be gone. Be gone. Dolph Ziggler, it depends. He could retire. He could be one of those people where 2 years from now he's still not doing anything wrestling related. But if for some weird reason him and his brother are teaming up in AEW as the Hollywood hunks, the Nemeths.
when out of this group of releases, the person I know already has a job is Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
Dolph Ziggler feels like he was either gearing up for his contract expiring or he was going to join this list of people who asked for their release, because the writing was on the wall. He's appeared on 2 episodes of Being the Elite in the past 3 months. You had Ryan Nemeth put out that post with him and Dolph wearing the AEW World Tag Team titles, him with the AEW World Championship and Ryan with the TNT title a couple of days before he gets released. I'm sorry. It just seems like he was gearing up for this.
I mean, the thing with Ziggler, right? As you said earlier, what was it, 2005? He first gets on TV, right? Shit, that's a hell of a run. And like, I must say, I have said many times, in fact, online and in interviews, 2011, 12 to 14, I was such a big Ziggler guy where I thought he deserved so much more. And the crowd reactions were there. I mean, as Money in the Bank would eventually prove. And I still couldn't believe that after the Survivor Series thing with Sting, that they did that shitty little firing storyline, and it didn't catapult him to the Royal Rumble. Like, it was there. But again, as exactly what we said earlier, if they don't want it to be there, it doesn't matter if you're there or not. So I feel sorry for Ziggler in that regard. Having said that, I'm talking about a period that's nearly 10 years ago, right? Like, the man, to be fair, he's resuscitated a few times where I thought, well, he's probably just going to fade now. You know, I think when they had the faction with McIntyre and Corbin, did I get that right? Even that was like one where I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, Ziggler's, because he was having these bangers with the Shield, and I thought, oh, you know, that's what Ziggler does. He's one of the best bump and feed guys in the business. Like, he's incredible for that. Like, you know what you're going to get with him, and he was a good hand. But I do think in terms of like interest, what else was there really for him in WWE? He likes his comedy stuff, man. He's still doing his shows out there in his spare time, and I feel like he's been almost preparing for life after WWE anyway for a while. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him link up with his brother and just kind of do things he wants to do now, because what he should have been, that boat's gone, I'm afraid.
Yeah, guys, quick question.
Yeah, I'm saying that too.
Dana Brooke, NWA or Impact?
NWA. Well, we could do that with these names. I won't do the names that are not really known. Sorry. Or the names that we don't see outside of WWE. Dabakato, Shanky. I'm sorry. Mason Mansoor. I see Impact Wrestling. Like their gimmick, Impact Wrestling.
I definitely think there's a future for that, man.
Mansoor, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he was given a short straw there a little bit. Yeah, Impact would be a good spot for him.
I think Mansoor had the same problem that Rusev had or Miro had. Vince saw him as a one-dimensional foreign heel, and he wasn't a one-dimensional foreign heel. He's multifaceted, and they just wanted to book him as a one. Vince is like, why is he a model again? He's from Saudi Arabia. Give him a turban. 9/11. I was 2 at 9/11. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's so stupid. But yeah, I could see them being on Impact. Mansoor probably going to AEW if he catches fire. Mace, I don't know. The guy's got really.
I don't see it. I don't see Mansoor.
All I ever really saw Mace do was get fucked up by Lesnar once. And that's about it, really.
Yeah. But he's got good comedic timing. If you see him on Up, Down, Down, or any of the Maximum Male Model stuff, he was kind of found himself.
Pretty good looking guy too. He's big. He's got size. Like,
he's too hard to wrestle by Booker T, man. Like, he should go. You know what? They may surprise us. Mace, if like New Japan Strong can invest in him, he could be something. Because New Japan Strong is another option for someone like Mace. If he choose to.
No, Mace is the type of guy that they would bring over to Japan, because those big guys get over in Japan. You saw with Matt Bloom and Luke Gallows, so he would kind of fit that mold right there.
To me, he's got pieces. He's got pieces. You know what I mean? Like, if he wants to go out and do it, he definitely could. He reinvent himself away from that WWE image. Like, in the same vein, I can see why WWE loves like an Austin Theory. Right? Yeah. Like, I know that not all of us do, but I can certainly see why they do. Right? Like, good-looking young guy, and he's fucking stacked. Like, I get it, and I think Mace has got some of those pieces, man, if he wants to apply it properly. But again, you forget he was on like the announce team for a while and shit. Like, he didn't really have a a traditional path, did he, in WWE? So maybe I think that hurt him really.
Definitely. What about you, Josh? Mason Months,
I would say Impact.
or where do
I
you
think that'd
see
be
them landing next?
probably Impact. I think I see a lot of people going to Impact. To be honest with you, like last time.
There's a lot of people in this group that just fit
Don't you think
Impact.
that Impact always kind of sweep up in these situations?
Yeah, like
Yo, I was like, I said
like
it yesterday.
like Boogs.
I said it yesterday
He would end up in
the
Impact.
Smackdown.
He'll be great in Impact.
I said
The NWA.
Because they like those gimmicky kind of guys. So a lot of them, that's why he would fit there pretty well, I think, because they love those kind of guys and they kind of usually use them for like anything. But yeah, because that happened last time. Remember, like when they did a mass release,
the Slammiversary 2020 when they picked up Eric Young and the Good Brothers and a whole bunch of people. That's why I said yesterday on the SmackDown review on Sportskeeda, I was like, watch Hard to Kill 2024. They going, everybody gonna show. Like out of this group, off the top of my head, I think Emma might go back. I think Rick Boogs would work in Impact. I think Aaliyah, that might be probably the best place for her to go, where she can work with some good workers. She won't be anything, but Alicia Edwards works in Impact. She's at the same skill level as Aaliyah. What are we talking about here?
Her husband is Tommy Dreamer Light.
Can I say something about Aaliyah? Right?
Yeah.
She had an 8-year run in WWE, by the way. Does anybody here off the top of their head, if you already know it because you read, then don't say. Anyone off the top of their head know how old she is?
I don't know, 28?
She is 28. She's like, that is like nothing in this business. She could have another decade somewhere if she really wanted to, but God damn, I was like, 8-year run and you're 28? Shit.
She has the potential where she could be the next Ty Mello, where if she goes to the right place that can teach her, because obviously the WWE system wasn't the best place for her to learn wrestling.
And she was crap. She was crap. She's from the same class as the horsewomen. All of them are now at Hall of Fame level. She's still in the beginner basic level. She's
one of them
dummies.
Let's be fair to her. Let's be fair to her because one of them spent 5 years on the Indies, another spent 3 years on the Indies, another spent nearly a decade on the Indies, and the other one is Ric Flair's daughter. So don't act like these are people they plucked out of obscurity, just like they did with Aaliyah. No, it was different.
She was a fresh-faced 20-year-old, like, in fairness, right? Like, just give her a bit of...
She was in the Indies in 2013, guys. She was trained by Rob Fuego and Jason Chase.
I mean,
she started in 2013. She started in 2013. She was in the Indies. Leo, if you're in the Indies over a decade ago, don't cape. SP, I love when you cape for people. She's not worth caping. She's not worth it.
Mid conversation here, I was like, I mean, Aaliyah's not the hill I want to die on.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I don't care that much. I don't.
Aaliyah is not. It is not fair to compare Aaliyah to the Four Horsewomen. I
gave her Daisy. I gave her Daisy. She's a former women's champion and the fastest pin of all time, which will never be broken. She's got more of a Hall of Fame career than Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan, Emma. She had a better career than Emma. She had a better career than Emma. She had a better career probably than Gail Kim.
Gail Kim
second run. Gail Kim second run. Gail Kim second run.
No.
Which is mostly superstars.
Now you're talking. Now you're talking.
She had a better run, yeah. The entire Valkyrie on NXT.
I don't know who that is. I only know Frankie Monet. Do you guys?
Gail Kim's debut is probably better than Aaliyah's full run.
Exactly.
Come on.
You kidding yourself with your debut?
Shelton Benjamin. Where do you think he goes, Josh? You're the only one not laughing at this point.
Yeah, it's just no. I mean, I'm laughing in this.
Sasha Banks was like, "Ew, get away from me!"
Stop.
Sheldon, to be honest, I have no. Well, Sheldon is kind of a mystery, just because like he's already up there in age. I think he's just probably going to be doing some indie stuff because I really don't see him signing anywhere at this point. That's just my opinion.
I think he goes over to Japan.
I would say he'll probably go back to Japan because that's where he was at for his bookings. So I could see him doing like a Japan run, but anything like major like companies, I don't think he's gonna re-sign with any companies.
He could be an asset to companies, maybe outside
Yeah,
of the
he could.
ring. Which AEW have obviously got a bit of a track record of picking up either newly retired or veterans that can help. But I agree, man. 48. I think the WWE contract at that stage in his career. Remember, he worked a long time out of WWE and kind of earned that big contract at the end of his career, which I think he was very happy with. And I think the Hurt business on top of that was a big bonus, right? Like, oh shit, I've actually got something to sink my teeth into. But like, if you didn't have the Hurt business, there wasn't much for Shelton after that, was it? So it was just like, no. I get it. I do get the release, and I also think for Shelton, he's made great money towards the end of his career now, so he can probably do what. Lucky for him though, he is a fucking great athlete. So really, he could. He's got a few years of doing whatever he wants. Like he's in that Rob Van Dam level of I can still hang despite my age, and I think he'd be an asset wherever he goes. But I don't see him being like a week to week guy.
I could see AEW signing him and put him on Ring of Honor. I think he would work on Ring of Honor because they just told the story about a veteran who never won the world championship. You got your next story about a veteran that never won the world championship with Shelton Benjamin there. And then one last person.
New Japan Strong. I can see Shelton fitting in nicely in New Japan.
Are you booking that show? What's going on?
I should be, right? Because I can see
you putting everybody over there. There's not even a real promotion.
Listen, if Fred Rosser can have a successful New Japan Strong career, Shelton Benjamin can blow that out of the water. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, don't disrespect Mr. Damn No Days Off.
Hey, I was giving respect when people weren't. They're saying what black wrestlers in New Japan. I said Fred Rosser.
Mate, Shelton had a good run in Japan, though.
Yeah, Noah, Pro Wrestling Noah,
Yeah, Pro Wrestling Noah. He had a good run. MVP had a good run in New Japan, so there's precedent there. But let's highlight the main one from the release list, Matt Riddle. He was the latest to confirm that he was exiting from WWE. Riddle posted to his Twitter account on Friday evening to announce that he's left the company. Riddle's release comes along with several other releases that started on Thursday. PW Insider reports that the release took place at around 5 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Riddle wrote, "Just wanted to inform everyone that I'm no longer with WWE. Thank you for the memories and opportunities. Also, thank you to all the fans for the support and love you give me the love you give me every time I go out to the ring. See you all soon." The former Raw Tag Team Champion had been with WWE since 2018 and moved to the main roster in 2020. His time with WWE was not without controversy as he was accused of sexual assault in the summer of 2020 and entered rehab after reportedly failing a drug test in December of last year. Riddle had not been on TV since he accused a Port Authority police officer of sexually assaulting him while he was at JFK Airport on September 10th in a social media post that was deleted shortly thereafter. The Port Authority is investigating the incident, and Riddle's absence from TV and live events since the incident was described as being due to a medical issue. Fightful Select reports that despite rumors last week to the contrary, Matt Riddle was never planned to be part of this week's episode of Raw, and one source noted that the speculation was probably based on outdated information and that he was never in creative plans for the episode. Sources that the site spoke to said that Riddle had not been factored into immediate creative plans since he was taken off the road after his accusations that a Port Authority officer had sexually assaulted him, and it should be noted that the report does not say there was a correlation between his allegation on social media and his being removed from the road. As noted, his reasoning was medical issue. And Riddle did some grappling training this week and was said to be in good spirits before his release, though one higher up in WWE said he burned through too many chances during his time in the company. Now, this is a question that probably we wouldn't be having after, the speaking out movement of 2020, but you got to ask this question now. Is this the end of Matt Riddle in professional wrestling, not just WWE? You're saying no, Josh?
No, I think he's probably going to go back to the independents. He's going to get booked no matter what. Just because, even with the allegations, nothing really came out of it. That's just what it comes down to. Nothing really happened after that. Even though right now, I think he's more problematic more than before, but in regards to that, promotions are going to see that they could still make money off of him, especially the independents. He's still going to get booked. Now, if he signs with a major company, right now I don't see it happening.
I've got a few things to say. One, I would lay money he'll have a WWE match again in his career. He'll end up back in WWE. You know what? With like a Velveteen Dream and people like that, where there was like a lot of mud on the name, that like translated to the audience in a lot of cases, right? Where it was like, you can't ignore that anymore. And they had to go, right? Riddle was like one of those unlikely scenarios where it didn't really blow up in his face. Like the live audience was still really into him. He was very popular whenever he came out, particularly in the Randy years. How you blow up your shit after Randy Orton goes to bat for you and you have this great run is incredible. That is dropping the bag in incredible situations. That is just something that everyone has to learn from. But I think in terms of like where he's at in ring and what he brought to the table, if you want to just park, and it's very hard to do this, if you want to park what he's like as a person, in terms of talent, look, man, I'm a fan. I like watching him. He's good. And I can see a lot of value in him that a lot of people would see. But man, like, you know, even everything that you just mentioned, obviously being true. I mean, I think he got divorced during this period as well, right? He was great for my career. I reported his backstage altercation with Brock Lesnar. I got the first comments on his fight with Seth Rollins, basically, that his wife orchestrated. Like, one thing I'll say for Riddle is anytime you interview him, he just doesn't care. He just tells you everything. He's like, yeah, sure, I'll tell you what happened. And it's like, those again, though, are more instances of just there was never a smooth ride for him in WWE. And when he really needs to keep, Annika has hit the nail on the head there. But how you need to keep his head down. He just never had that period of time where it's like, okay, man, get back to business, do your thing, and just stay out of trouble. He never had it. And the only time he did have it was alongside Randy Orton. And that's because he has one of the most influential talent in the company by his side. I think AEW, I know Tony Khan can be quite strong morally on who he takes and who he doesn't, although I would argue that's flexible. There are cases against it. Jay Lethal, Punk. Like Punk as well, yeah.
Darby Allin.
This is it, right? So I wouldn't rule it out by any stretch of imagination. I think he could do very well in AEW in their kind of wrestling first. Well, they were like that, a bit more WWE-ish lately, to be fair. But their wrestling first sort of formula, I think he would be great there. And I really do believe there'll be a RK Bro if Randy sorts his fucking back out. I do think there will be an RK Bro reunion eventually. I really do.
What about you, Sad? Do you think it's the end of Matt Riddle in WWE or wrestling in general?
If that pedophile Chase Ranson's still lurking around, if Marty Scurll can wrestle in AAA, Riddle was like what? The least worrying of the three, or actually, what a
way to calibrate it.
You set the bar really low there.
Actually,
like he walks into me, he's like, "Well, I'm not a pedo." So
poor Scurll, poor Scurll. I don't know. Scurll has that one thing that ended him, while Riddle allegedly, and then apparently people saying there's things we don't know. Listen, if Titus O'Neil did half of the stuff that Riddle was accused of, he would have got fired ages ago.
Yeah, yesterday.
You know what I'm saying? He got suspended for telling Vince to wait for his daughter to, like Riddle's had enough opportunity and chances in WWE. In fact, we're all saying that, I can see him come back to WWE. I don't want to be morbid, but I'll be shocked if he's still alive in the next 5 years. I'm just being honest, because right now it looks like he's going through a downward spiral. Because they got rid of him during a time period where he hasn't got himself back together, and for him to go to AEW, I'm sorry, Tony, if you're scared for your life with Phil,
that's not the atmosphere, that's not the atmosphere Matt Riddle needs to be in with his mental state. I could tell you that from personal experience.
Exactly.
You do not want to be around AEW after a show.
Yeah, exactly. And I also want to say as well,
worth noting, by the way, just to piggyback on that point. Like, I know people look at Matt Riddle like goofy and like he's a dangerous motherfucker. Right?
Yes.
Like, you put him in that locker room where shit goes. I mean, listen, he is not a safe man to be around.
But it's not out of the question to think that Tony Khan would be thinking about that, because he was thinking about that back in 2018. That was one of the names on his list of guys that he wanted to sign when he first started thinking about opening his own promotion. It was Matt Riddle, because he was a hot free agent at the time.
I mean, you got to remember in that year he was really hot though, right? Like everyone was talking about him.
What I want, is for him to reclaim Bloodsport, get it back under his umbrella in GCW. He can go GCW.
Josh Barnett's not doing that.
Listen, Josh Barnett, step the fuck down, okay? That was Riddle's thing.
It's gonna be Josh Barnett versus Matt Riddle.
Riddle can end him. Riddle will end him. Riddle will end him. And also another thing as well.
Josh's booking. Josh never loses if he's booking.
Listen, the state of mind Riddle's in right now, shoot on him. But also another thing as well, with Tony Khan, Jeff Hardy, we were all happy, woo. Jeff Hardy left WWE. And then look what happened within a few months, he had a DUI. I'm just saying right now, Riddle's got this baggage that Tony Khan has proven he can't handle people with baggage. He doesn't have a system in place to handle it. No offense. I feel like Tony Khan's one wrestler death away from learning his lesson, because I feel like right now they don't have an Owen Hart situation yet. Listen, he's letting things happen.
You've had 5 minutes here, Sam.
I'm gonna let you finish, but
listen.
I wasn't happy that Jeff got released, by the way. I was worried, but I'm just gonna let you keep going.
Exactly. I'm just saying that I don't want him in AEW. I want him to get his life together. I want him to figure it out, because right now I feel like he's on that Sean Waltman, Jeff Hardy level of kind of like, I mean, I'm crazy. I'm taking drugs. I'm banging all these kind of explicit women. He's me and DP without doing the tag team with this lady, DP. Baby Priest.
Moving on swiftly.
He had to stipulate who it was.
I know, he just had to. Just a few hours before WWE announced the releases we just spoke about, they also announced that SmackDown will be moving to the USA Network in October of next year as part of the new 5-year agreement between the two sides. This will bring SmackDown back home to the USA. The company will also air primetime specials on NBC starting in 2024-2025 TV season, and there will be 4 per year. This will end the WWE's deal with Fox, which began in 2019. So the big news, and the deal was valued at $1.4 billion. What do you think is kind of going to be the consequence of this move, though? Because SmackDown for the past 4 years has been the highest rated wrestling show weekly on television. You got to think that going back to USA, they're not available in as many homes as Fox being on primetime television back on cable. You're going to see it kind of fall back to maybe the Raw numbers. Don't you think, Alex?
Well, the stock price dropped quite immediately, which is a glaring reflection of what they think is going to happen there. Obviously, they've been doing anywhere between sort of 2 and 2.5 million viewers over the past however many years on Fox, and you have to think that Fox played their part in that, right? Like you said, being able to get in so many homes. Going back to USA, it's like, I don't know how much that will influence the product per se. I don't think it will. But in terms of numbers and people, how much they watch each week, I don't know what USA are expecting. But they had the flagship, right? Like, I don't know. Obviously, now they're looking at SmackDown, though. Like, okay, this brings in the numbers. It's like, be careful what you're paying for here. So, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, 1.4 billion isn't enough. 24 people have to get cut. But it's this thing with these TV deals, I guess, they're making more and more money, and they're capitalizing on the fact that whatever we think of ratings and what they were yesteryear, right, of like, fucking 5-6 millions, right? Like, obviously the landscape has changed. They still are, most of the time, number one in their slot on cable that week. Like, you're going to get what you pay for, and it's a valuable product. I think WWE loved the rubbing up against Fox's Real Sports. I think they did. But, you saw kind of how quickly that dissipated, really. And I think obviously you saw that the Fox's the extra shows and the money they were committing around WWE, right? Obviously, I can't remember what it's called, backstage. Right? That when Ryan Satin's thing became like a podcast or whatever it was.
Out of character,
yeah, and you're like, you can see that Fox weren't exactly begging to have it back, right? So I think in WWE's books, this is a big win. They've got someone to take it on for more money. It doesn't matter where, to be honest.
And this deal confirms that, for now, that likely Raw and NXT are not going to be on USA, even though NBC Universal still is the favorite. WWE, even in 2019, when they got the deal with Fox, the likelihood was they were going to get a deal with NBC Universal for NXT and Raw because they wanted money from two different companies. So that makes me think Raw and NXT are moving off of NBC Universal as well. So
to where?
No. Going, I think Disney. I think Disney, and we're gonna have Amazon? Raw on FX.
Amazon.
Raw and NXT on FX, and Wednesday Night Raw. Here it comes. Because you know they petty. They petty. You know they petty. They go on Wednesday Night War again. And then final note on last night's SmackDown, LA Knight was originally scheduled to be part of the main event segment with John Cena getting beat up for a very, 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 very long time. Fightful reports that Knight was set to be part of the segment and help John Cena against Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, and was also set to have a dark match teaming with Cena. However, he was pulled from the show due to what was initially reported as a medical related issue. The report adds that the issue in question was Knight testing positive for COVID before the show, necessitating that he leaves the building. Instead, the show closing angle, which was to have AJ Styles and Cena sign the contract to face Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso at Fastlane, saw Styles attacked by the Bloodline and then Cena attacked by the Bloodline in the ring. PW Insider also confirms the report that notes Knight gave the company permission to reveal his status. So all the best wishes and speedy recovery to LA Knight. Yeah.
You talk about bad luck, man.
Yo, you were about to get your big break. You in a segment with John Cena and the Bloodline, and you had to get that.
And Vince would be like, I told you.
He's unreliable.
His immune system is rubbish. He's a cough all over Roman Reigns. Keep him away.
He coughs at night. God damn it. Monday Night Raw this week, they did 1.331 million viewers, got slaughtered from the NFL Monday Night Football, the second lowest viewership in the show's history. The show featured Drew McIntyre defeating Jey Uso in a solid main event after Jey finally rejected the offer of the Bloodline by super kicking Dom, Finn, and Priest. Post-match, the Judgment Day attacked Uso while McIntyre watched on until, of course, everybody's favorite white meat babyface Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, came down and made the save to close the show. This followed Rhodes beating Dirty Dominic Mysterio to open the show, and then Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens had Cody's back against the Judgment Day. But afterwards, KO called out Cody and questioned him about bringing Jey Uso to Raw. Cody said he's here to give the fans what they want and everyone deserves a second chance, which Sami agreed with and said second chances are why he and Kevin won the main event of WrestleMania and the tag team titles. So KO says he trusts them but doesn't trust Jey and hopes that they are right. You also had Nia Jax follow up from her return by laying out Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, Chelsea Green, and Piper Niven because the women's tag team titles don't mean a damn thing apparently. And Shinsuke Nakamura beat Ricochet via disqualification after Ricochet used the chair brought into play by Nakamura, but Shinsuke attacked Ricochet before Seth freaking Rollins came out and made the save. However, Nakamura was able to backdrop Seth on a steel chair and then back suplex Seth on the announce table to lay him out. So Seth says that he will face Shinsuke Nakamura in a rematch anytime, any place, any stipulation of Shinsuke's choosing. Any thoughts on this week's Monday Night Raw? I enjoyed a show long narrative, so I enjoyed the Jey Uso and Judgment Day stuff, but a lot of WWE just feels like it's in a holding pattern right now. And this show, I was just wondering, I was like, isn't Fastlane in like 2 weeks? Why didn't they mention any matches for that show?
I mean, first of all, that was a rotten steal of my girl Piper Niven getting done over by Nia Jax. I think it's that time of year, man. Right? Like it's we all know that WrestleMania season is the best for WWE anyway. And sometimes it gets interesting with Survivor Series when they're doing certain battles or whatever, but otherwise, we're kind of just lagging and kind of feels where we're at right now. I agree with you though. I do like the kind of stories that run through Raw, like that to me, like turn of the millennium. I mean, it was mainly Triple H, but that was, how Raws were, and that's what I really enjoyed. Like you're not just getting a series of fucking shit, basically. And Raw down the years has been far too much like that. Here comes a squash match. Okay, well, I know what's going on for the next 5 minutes. They're building this guy up, and then blah, blah, blah. So yeah, to me, again, this is, I guess, another wrinkle of the Bloodline story that we're trying to work out. I do like the Kevin and Sammy element, although I not thrilled that they lost the belts, to be honest, in the first place. And I can't necessarily see where they're going with them. They're two people that I kind of want to keep big plans around them, something on the horizon constantly, basically. And after WrestleMania, when you think about the apex of that story and where they got to, has it been a little bit? Is it fair to say it's been a lackluster time for them since then? It feels that way to me.
Yeah, it feels like Sami Zayn is not as over as he was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and that needs to be addressed. Yeah, Kevin Owens too, man, and obviously, I guess Drew McIntyre, his story was going to be with Riddle, right? Like that was what they were going down, and he's having to pivot. So I think a lot of Raw right now is just kind of like all over the place, and you got Seth Rollins, I guess, holding it down as the world champ, but I don't know if he's in anything overly interesting right now either. So it's, to me, it's a little bit stale, dare I say.
I said this week on the Raw review that this felt like the first heated segment him and Nakamura had, but my main problem with the whole entire feud, it feels so mid-card. It feels so mid-card, and that's why I said I specified what Seth said. Oh, the real world champion is all Raw. I was like, yeah, that's Gunther. It's not Seth, because Seth don't feel like no world champion. He feels like he's holding the Intercontinental title, and Gunther's holding the world title.
The thing with Nakamura, right, is he's one of those where you go, okay, we're going to do Nakamura Rollins. You go, it's going to be good, right? It's going to be a good match, but nobody's like paying to see that, if that makes sense, right? Nobody's like, Nakamura, he's a draw, he's super interesting. And I'm not really having a go at him for that. It's just kind of the way his WWE run has been, how he's been presented. He's not a big deal, unfortunately. He's a great wrestler, but he's not a big deal. There's a very big difference in that. And I think as a result, a lot of people are a bit like, well, no one believes he's really going to beat Seth. So like the interest level is just automatically like, And I think they did do well with this whole, I know your back's fucked element, but it kind of just made it half more interesting. But I don't think anybody is really here believing that it's going to go anywhere. And that's always a problem with world title runs, where you go, okay, well, I know this feud is just to, add to the layer of the champion and make it like another notch. And I feel like that's kind of where we are with that right now.
Yeah, pretty much. It just seems like it's very kind of, they're just biding their time. Everybody's in a holding pattern. Let's put you here. And I agree with this comment from Vala B that they're basically setting up the team can't beat Roman versus Judgment Day at Survivor Series. So I like that stuff on Raw, but I was just like, but you have a pay-per-view before we get to some. You actually have 2 pay-per-views before we get to Survivor Series. So how about we build to that and Survivor Series? That would be great, but no.
When you think about how hot the pay-per-views were, like this year concurrently, maybe from January to June, like
Payback was the first one where it was just like, this does not have the same buzz as everybody else.
That's what I'm saying.
And then when I watched the show, I was like, half of the show was like TV matches. So like, yeah, this was what I expected it to be. And it was the same weekend as All Out, and in between All Out and All In. So that didn't help it either.
Yeah, and then also at the end of October, beginning of November, you've got the next Saudi show, which they are making more and more important in their eyes. So, are they waiting for, who the fuck knows is going to come back for that? right? Like Saudi asked WWE to bring people back from the dead half the time. So, who knows what's going to happen there. And then, that will dictate basically where they're going. And that's always on a whim. So it's really hard to say right now. And there's no bubbling great storylines that I can see kind of rising. I know they're talking about maybe Drew does a heel turn. I'm still a bit unsure about how that plays out, or what the payoff to that would be, right? Like who's he gonna face, or what's the
Cody
upside?
Seems to be where they're going.
But then what? They just face each other at Mania or Rumble, or what's the deal?
Probably Rumble. Probably Rumble, and did not put Cody in the Rumble match just to piss people off.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love you, WWE, if you would do that. Just not put Cody in the Rumble at all. And then we're gonna tell Sat to come back on the show so he can react to Cody.
No, it's LA Knight. It's not LA Knight's gonna wrestle Roman Reigns at a Rumble, so he doesn't have to be in a Royal Rumble. Come on, guys. LA Knight's not in the Rumble. That's who they're gearing up. They're gearing up Cody, for LA Knight and Roman Reigns. No, Cody's gonna win.
My question has been my question has been about that match is, do we want LA Knight to go down the route of other hot baby faces that face Roman Reigns? Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. And I'm not talking about Vince McMahon booking. I'm talking about this is all Triple H booking. Right. Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. Not as over as he was before that show. Sami Zayn at Elimination Chamber. Not as over as he was before that show. Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Not as over as he was before that show. Do you want to make it a fourth? Do we want a Mount Rushmore of hot baby faces that face Roman Reigns, and then we're not over as much as they were before?
It's WWE.
Could we even argue the Usos in that, by the way? We could.
Argue the Usos?
I think we could put the Usos in that for Money in the Bank or Jay after that. You could argue.
You could put Jimmy.
It felt like the Bloodline storyline should have ended at Money in the Bank when Jay pinned Robin.
Should have been the Apex, yeah.
I'm with you guys.
Was it?
You know what? I'm so happy that Drew didn't come and save the day. I like the fact that he's a justified guy. When he turns, it's going to be brilliant. He's going to be unshackled. He's going to be the Scottish psychopath. I can't wait to see that side of him. It's been a while for him to tap into the vicious side of him, because it's a shame that his highest peak as a babyface was during the pandemic, because he was a great ambassador for the company. He was a great top face for the company. Unfortunately, by the time the pandemic was over, Lashley needed the rub more. It's kind of weird. It's like this is hard when you got so many guys like who should win this WrestleMania? I mean, Drew should be established because he's in a WrestleMania in front of the crowd, but Lashley's finally over after we tried how many years to get him over. Lashley's sisters, Lana, you name it.
That wasn't a bad decision.
It wasn't. No. I'm happy. Listen, Lashley needs it. The fact that he actually gets cheered, I'm still shocked, because at one point they used to pipe in cheers, because that's how bad it used to be for Lashley. But yeah, I'm happy that Lashley's
over. Could WWE
over.
stop piping in boos for Dom? You don't need to do that.
I
just want to ask them. My friend actually has a system where you could put in a video and you could get the real sound from piped in sound, and it had 60% piped in sound.
There's a YouTube channel in that. Monetize that.
Yeah. I told him. I was like, I need you to show me how you did this.
Yeah, was Goldberg's chants piped in? I need to know now, guys.
You know this.
Just to round up everything you're saying, so I don't drivel on for too long. Raw is in a holding pattern. I do think the Seth storyline of his back being injured is to present Gunther's powerbomb to be the thing that annihilates Seth Rollins for the title. Nice. It's so obvious that that's what they're doing. Like Shinsuke Nakamura is a bump in the road, because in their mind they need to booster up the title. The title has to mean something when Gunther finally gets it, right? So they have to do like he's beating Shinsuke, he's beating.
But I think they're just wasting time, because we all know Gunther is the one that revitalized and makes titles. He made the NXT UK Championship, brought back the Intercontinental title. Just put the title on him. You're wasting time with Seth.
But the question I ask you, my esteemed colleagues, should Gunther win it at Mania, or just get over and done with, just do it at the Rumble? Just put him out of his misery, right? Then
I don't know if the heel needs the Mania moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
They can do it whenever.
I'm with you on that. Well, they did it with Yokozuna, but that's a whole different story. But yeah, and then Hogan cashed in his money in the bank and won the title.
I was about to say, let's not go down that road. Jesus.
Heist of the century came.
Heist of the century, 1993. That's the original Money in the Bank. I want Gunter's ready, right? He's primed. He's treated like a main eventer. His promos has improved so much. I just love the presentation. Very sports orientated presentation he has. He has no nonsense. Like you said, he elevates titles. Seth Rollins is trying his best, but his booking has been a bit meh. I don't know how to explain, but Shinsuke, I'm happy Shinsuke has been motivated the last couple of months.
I will say this for Gunther, right? Like he is the perfect blend because he is he just does not miss in a match. You know, you can look at every kind of big time matchup. You know, obviously I love the Gable series he's just had. But every big time matchup basically in WWE, and he has a classic at the end of it. But he's also big enough for Vince McMahon, right? So even though he is not the, textbook American or British talker. There it is.
Xenia! There she is. Oh.
She's confused. She just walked into the kitchen, wanted me to hold her. All right, I'll hold you, but you have to be part of the show now.
She's like, why I don't see the background? Why is our background different on the screen?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Lovely.
Hey.
All I will say is that the biggest problem with Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship run is that no one fights to get a shot. Like, you literally just axe or challenge him. Like, you know what made Gunther's reign and why he revived the Intercontinental title? Sheamus had to go through a 5-way in Montreal, that big match where everybody loved Sami Zayn, and he won that one to go to Clash at the Castle. Sheamus and Drew fought each other to go to WrestleMania, and Gunther attacked both of them. Every single time, every title match I can remember from Gunther, the people had to fight to get that title shot. Chad Gable won a 4-way before he got the recent title shot. Ricochet last year won a whole World Cup tournament to get a shot at Gunther. Now look at Seth Rollins' reign. Braun Breaker said, I just lost a title match. I won a world title match. Seth said, okay, sure, no problem. Here you go. Like, it's so... Finn Balor lost to Seth Rollins and got a title shot. Like, he has never had anyone fight for his title in the past 4 months.
Don't forget.
Three times. He faced Finn 3 times and lost, and Finn lost all 3 times.
I said then, Finn should have been the one who already beat him. Seth should not be the champion right now. Like Judgment Day feels like the top program on Raw. So you should put that world title on the top program, and then it will feel bigger. Seth feels so mid-card right now, and it's sad because he's one of the best workers in this company.
It would have been a fresh story too, by the way. World champion and Money in the Bank holder in the same stable.
Yes. That was the logical progression of the story, is that Finn now has the world title and now has the Money in the Bank basically walking behind him every step of the way.
That'd be great. That'd be great TV. I don't think we've ever seen a story like that. I could be wrong, but I don't think we have.
No, we never have. That's what people wanted last year, before last year's Money in the Bank that Austin Theory won. People wanted Sammy to win, so Sammy could be in the bloodline with the Money in the Bank.
Exactly, would have been great TV, man. But I mean, what's one that I hate to be this nostalgia guy, but back in the day, because Raw's main event scene was so stacked, talking like 2000, or even before that, late 90s into the early 2000s. You got loads of number one contender stuff, or people battling to get shots, and that was kind of where a lot of the great TV matches and moments came from. But these days, like you said, it's just a case of I'm not making excuses for it, but I get it, because Seth is the fighting champ, right? And he wants to be the anti-Roman, so it's like, ask for it and you can get it. But I do think the very thing he's trying to bring value to, actually, that attitude devalues it. So.
Exactly. Like, it can't be John Cena's U.S. title open challenge. You can't do that. Like, that's reviving a title. That's not making a title.
Yeah. Because world championships, especially like the top titles, I think I actually like the aspect of it treated like a prize fighting kind of aspect, where it's not being defended all the time. That's what makes it special. And that's why like New Japan, you usually have those kind of reigns. Like Okada, when he was the champion for like 2 years, he defended the title like 13 times. So it makes those kind of things special. And I think when you kind of do something like that with a world title, kind of dilutes the title. And I think that's why with Seth, even though I felt like at the beginning, I felt like this title reign was better than like his freaking Universal title reign. Now he's just been more like stagnant, and it doesn't even feel important. It just feels, it just feels like it's there.
It does.
I agree.
It's kind of just there. But let's finish up WWE talk. We'll have more news on the WWE releases. I'll be dropping either a short or an exclusive over on Patreon, where we got stuff on Dolph Ziggler, Aaliyah, Mustafa Ali, and Maximum Male Models. WWE this week also announced another major money deal, guys. Before they release people, WWE announced that it will return to Australia next year for Elimination Chamber at Perth at Alpist Stadium. It will be a premium live event that airs Saturday, February 24th, 2024. And pre-sale registration for tickets have already opened. So big event, big international event. And once again, Elimination Chamber is going to have a hot crowd. So thumbs up for that. Thumbs up for that. Even though probably could separate it by a day and announce that the day after you release people. Just saying.
You could.
NXT, which in my opinion, guys, I'll just tell you, feels like the hottest WWE brand right now because actual things are happening on the show. The show had 824,000 viewers this week, and it featured Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria beating Tiffany Stratton and Kiana James in a pretty good main event. Post-match, Stratton attacked Lynch with a steel chair, which led to Becky challenging Tiffany to an Extreme Rules match at No Mercy for the NXT Women's Championship. Butch defeated Tyler Bate in a brilliant bout to win Group A of the NXT Global Heritage Invitational. Meanwhile, Duke Hudson upset Joe Coffey to make a three-way tie in Group B. This led to Coffey defeating Hudson and Nathan Frazier to win Group B in a sudden death three-way. It will now be Butch versus Joe Coffey next week in the finals of the tournament. And Dominic Mysterio beat Carmelo Hayes via disqualification when Ilya Dragunov was provoked to interject by Dirty Dom, and Dragunov laid out both men to stand tall. NXT, man, I'm sorry. Raw feels like it's in a holding pattern. SmackDown feels like in a holding pattern. Meanwhile, you got Becky Lynch showing up on this show. You got main roster people. This feels like the brand now. How did we get here from 2.0 to now?
You're giving Shawn Michaels the flowers, huh?
Yes. Shawn Michaels the best.
Well,
Michael Hickenbottom.
He did good with NXT UK. It's worth noting. He did do well when that was at his peak. For what it's whatever that peak you constitute that to be, from a product, certainly not numbers standpoint. You know what? I went into work on, was it Wednesday this week maybe? And we have BT Sport. I know for you American guys, that's where we get our stuff. WWE
TNT
stuff.
Sports, isn't it now?
TNT now.
See,
and
I know.
You know, and it was on, right? And it was Butch and Tyler Bate, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I know I haven't been paying attention when Butch and Tyler Bate is on, and man, I sat and watched that shit, and I was like, "Oh, that's great." They can't possibly have a bad match, them two. But I was like, you can't just have this on a weekly TV. God damn. But yeah, every time I generally catch up with it, like by watching highlights or I was as you know, SP3, I was like a big black and gold guy. And I kind of fell away when I didn't have to do the weekly coverage so much, but it just keeps getting my attention. Like every week, I'm like, there's something I need to catch up on this, and I'll go back and watch it, and that's what I did this week. So I agree, man. It's I think there were some lulls between the eras, but I think HBK has found not only what he's looking for, but the roster that kind of complements that. And like you said, it's one thing to bring in main roster people, but the right pieces are accompanying it right now.
True story. So yeah, the Elimination Chamber starts at 6 a.m. Eastern on February 24th. So that's 11 a.m. for y'all in the UK.
It is. I'm going to try and go to Australia.
Nice.
I don't see any other, a better time to try and get.
You got to still come out to Philly though.
Well, yes, this is it. If it's an either or, I'm going to Philly. Come on. But I'm going to try and come on, Daily Mail. Put your money. Come on, shove me out there.
Come on, Daily Mail. Help a brother out. Help a brother out.
Help a brother out, indeed. Come on.
A mocha brother, yes. Final notes here on WWE this week. The Wrestling Observer newsletter had some notes in regard to the reasoning behind this week's release. Many of the releases were talent that were making main roster money, but weren't being used on the main roster. This included wrestlers like Mustafa Ali and Dana Brooke, who were in NXT, as well as Elias and Maximum Male Models, who weren't used at all. It was also believed that the talent weren't going to be used on the main roster in the future. And one WWE official said, it's time in versus how much money you are being paid versus return on investment, which we can understand. And the last notes from WWE that I definitely want to hear from the Mocha Brothers about is Jade Cargill. As previously reported, Jade Cargill has reportedly left AEW and expected to report to the WWE Performance Center this past week. During Monday's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer noted that WWE has already started working on creative plans for the former TBS champion. Cargill coming to WWE is said to be a big thing into the company, and her name has been discussed a lot backstage. It's believed she will get a big push and a chance to get over due to how much WWE is paying her. Meltzer said while she's not making Charlotte Flair or Becky Lynch money, it was noted that she got a good deal. And as for whether or not she will be on NXT, the belief is she is set for the main roster, but still could spend a brief period of time in NXT. However, the creative plans are assumed to be for the main roster. PW Insider reports that Jade Cargill did indeed show up in Orlando at the Performance Center, and it was noted that she wasn't going to be on NXT this week. PW Insider reports that Jade Cargill was on the flight leaving the Orlando International Airport for Atlanta, and their source noted they passed Cargill sitting in first class as they boarded. Cargill was going home and on Monday and wasn't going to be on NXT, and it's also noted that Cargill has been removed from the AEW roster page. Dave Meltzer on Tuesday's Wrestling Observer had a follow-up saying that she's earmarked to be a major star on WWE programming. When and where she makes her WWE debut remains to be seen. So I will start with Sat. Where does Jade Cargill debut for WWE and when?
I think she may have a brief run in NXT to sort out any kinks she may have. I see like kind of Gunther, because Gunther had a short stay in NXT 2.0, just to see where she's at, do a few hip toss classes, learn the scripted WWE promos, all that lingo.
Grab a hold.
Your mother.
Gotta grab a hold.
Learn the lingo, the scripted promos, all that kind of stuff, where the camera is, and then after that, go to the main roster. So yeah.
What about you, Josh?
I'm gonna say main roster. I think the way that they're preceding her, I think it's gonna be the main roster. And also I wanted to note that they did file a trademark for the name Jada Parker, I believe.
Jada Parker, yeah.
Oh God, please don't do that. Don't do
that.
That.
They won't let her have a real name, will they?
No, guys, it's not her. I'm looking at it. It was posted on the news earlier. Some NXT wrestler by the name of Tiana Caffey. She has the name of Jada Parker.
That's what I wrote the article on WrestleTalk about that. So that's what I assumed.
Oh yeah, it's been confirmed. It's not her.
All right.
I wonder if they will let her have her name still, though. Well, unlikely.
Yeah, because I think people who were posting it when they put the news, they were putting her picture on it. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, they were teasing like, oh, this could possibly be get those clicks. We know Alex. We know Alex, right?
Bread and butter, man. When Dolph Ziggler got released, I was like, former WWE champion has been
yes. Former I don't say former Impact champion. I say former WWE star. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, her, you definitely gotta keep her name. You're gonna treat her like a star. You gotta just say fuck it and go with that.
Alex, what about you? Where do you think Jade debuts?
I'm absolutely in agreement with the last statement. I think if WWE could have took anyone from AEW, and obviously they got Cody, but if you had like a top 3 picks, Jade Cargill would have been in mine for WWE. Mm-hmm. Easy. Mm-hmm. She is one of the most obviously built WWE stars I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Ever. Mm-hmm. Like she looks like an absolute superhero. For the women's division, obviously, I know we've got Bianca, but I think Jade Cargill is like impressive in and of herself. Like, I don't think you can go, oh, they're similar even, right?
They're not even similar. They're not even.
They're
close.
not. They're not. I think that the way that they carry themselves is almost completely different.
Mm-hmm.
They're just two big, strong women, basically. Like, that's the only correlation to be made. So I think you can have a world where that's a really exciting matchup. Getting her with any of the 4 horsewomen that are still left is a really exciting matchup. Her and Rhea Ripley, Rhea Ripley is like this almost China-esque situation now, right? Where she can rub shoulders with the men and she's a powerhouse. And, Raquel is kind of like a peer of hers as well. Get Cargill in with them. Like, she can be such a fantastic asset for the main roster, but also, just like I said, if she does have aspirations for Hollywood, like we believe she does, WWE is probably the best vehicle in pro wrestling to get her there, which I assume plays a role in that. I just think she has so much value and upside and superstar potential that will really, WWE would have been looking at and going, we can use that. AEW's got a ton of great wrestlers, right? That you could put on WWE's roster and go, yeah, that'd be great. I would argue that they would see more value in Jade Cargill than a Kenny Omega, right?
Yeah.
I would argue from a WWE standpoint, and I can see why and understand that. My only thing is AEW dropped the ball, man. Like, I think you two will be very aware. I've always been a big proponent of Jade. Well aware that she had her limitations early on, but I do think she has developed somewhat. But she should have had the Lesnar maiden run. That's what she should have had. They should have treated her like she was the hottest shit in God's green earth. I know that you had the Brit story that was going for a while, but if you look at how the women's titles kind of bounced around the past, 6 to 9 months.
Yes,
Can't tell me you can't have just had Jade ascend to the top, and then how much more impactful the Jamie Hayter beating Cargill for the belt maybe at the time, right? Like, I
would still do it Chris Statlander. I would still have Chris Statlander be the one to break the streak. Even if she was the AEW Women's World Champion, I would have done it.
Either way, I think like they should have had her right to the top, and then when she lost, and the last match could have been ever so more impactful. I don't think they went all in her like they should. She, to me, was like we've got a Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar on our hands. Obviously, very different, but you know what I'm saying in terms of
star.
Packaging.
I think
if you turned on your TV, right? If you turned on your TV and you hadn't been watching wrestling, she walked out. Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Straight away. Only a handful of people have that, and she has it.
She has that it factor. That's what they always talk about. Immediately comes up on the screen. Me, myself, I think the best thing for Jade Cargill, the best thing for WWE is a short run on NXT. I feel like you're blowing your load just immediately putting her on the main roster. And all those matches are great, but they're great if you actually build to it and build Jade Cargill as a star to this WWE audience. And they have the perfect opportunity to do that on NXT because Becky Lynch is the NXT Women's Champion. Yeah. If Jade Cargill comes in right now, it seems like everything is kind of set up for her to have the great dominant run that Alex is talking about that AEW should have done with her on NXT before she gets called up to the main roster after WrestleMania 40. She could come in, wash through everybody in the breakout tournament, beat Becky Lynch at Deadline, show up in the Royal Rumble, have a dominant run as the NXT Women's Champion, be in a headline spot at Stand and Deliver and whatever other pay-per-view they do at the beginning of the year before dropping the title at Stand and Deliver and then debuting on Raw or SmackDown. I feel like that's the best route for Jade Cargill and WWE because Jade Cargill is a lot more valuable to NXT. They're trying to make a third brand and get a new media rights deal than she would be on Raw or SmackDown, where she will never be the number one girl there. She's never. I was about to, now. That's for
just
sure.
To back up your point here, and we were just talking about how Raw is a little bit stale and stuff, right? There's no need to kind of feed her into the, like a downturn time, right? Like maybe she would be better to be introduced to the masses around Royal Rumble season, right? Like, WrestleMania season. Maybe the turn of the year is the one and you get a few months of her in NXT. But I don't, by all stretch, I don't think it should be a long run, but a few months there.
A Gunter style run, just there for a couple of months and now.
A few months there, sure.
And plus, putting her on Raw doesn't work because you just brought back Nia Jax.
I'm about to say that at the moment,
you got 4 big, powerful women on one brand. Like it's like you got
a new division.
I wouldn't mind Jade's debut being fucking up Nia Jax, though. I wouldn't mind that at all. Sign me up for
Rumble.
that.
She's the one that eliminates Nia Jax. She lifts her up and just tosses her ass over.
Get your ass out. Yeah.
And she'll be like, my hole.
Remember that, guys? Remember that?
Remember that relevant piece of information right there? And yes, Maggie, thank you. She says she loves when I love when
I could tell you was getting ready for takeoff, man. I was like, all right, he's off. He's gone.
Just saying. We gotta treat Jade like a diamond. AEW didn't treat her like a diamond. They got dust on that diamond. WWE got to treat her like a diamond. But that is all the WWE news. So that is all we have for time with our good friends here, the Daily Boys. I know Alex got to get back to the family and can't keep his mom hostage with the kids much longer. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. Good brother, good sir. I'm going to give you the spotlight so you can promote everything you got going on. Daily Mail, you got Inside the Ropes. This man is so busy, and he's showing up the dog.
You know what?
Look at that tail. He's happy to be on the show.
Is there a woman? Is it a dude? Is that his cock hanging out?
He's a good boy. Oh, there you go. I had to give you the dog running.
Was that his
what
cock
did you say?
hanging out?
Am I meant to plug my shit now? What's going on?
Yes, plug your shit.
Alex, was that your dog's cock hanging out?
Yeah, big old balls on that dog. It's got a big old set. Testicular fortitude set. Guys, I am obviously, you can find my stuff at Daily Mail online. Wrestling is going big over there now, big refocus on that. So we've got a Grayson Waller interview off the back of the Elimination Chamber news that I'll be dropping next week. If you want to watch those interviews, they'll be on Inside the Ropes. You'll always be able to see them over there. Got a podcast with Kenny on the same platform, Break It Down, so you can hear from me or watch me pretty much every week. And that's where you'll find me. Obviously, I post stuff on Twitter as well, McCarthy88. And that's about it. But plenty of places you can catch me, and obviously a lot of stuff coming up as well. A lot of interviews in the can. So yeah, you can see a lot more soon.
Thank you for joining us. We always love having you on, Alice, and your dog's cock.
My dog's balls.
Yeah, that's probably good. There we got another dog on screen. Oh my God, Dogomania.
Where's my cats? I'm working with Tunde. Tunde.
Sat,
yes.
Plug all your stuff, where they can find you on social media, WrestleTalk, and all that good stuff. Sir.
Yeah, you can find me, the Doggy Dick Connoisseur, on every Saturday.
Doggy Dick Connoisseur. DDC. DDC.
But you can find my big black content every Saturday on WrestleTalk. Every Saturday, I do the news and I do the podcast with Tempest, and I'm on Twitter at @SatNextTo. Lovely put right there. And yeah, from every often you may see me on, Tru Heel Heat channel. That's how we do around here. So yeah.
Sat, I'm gonna need you to text me your October date you would like to come back on. You're more than welcome. We'll try to get
comes on. Don't let him on without me.
We're getting both of you on. We're gonna figure it out.
Alex, you into it? Yeah, do it monthly.
Listen, I don't say yes to these things anymore, but I always say yes to you, brothers. So
yeah, I'll put in a group chat.
We got to do this more often, and Chrissy is very upset she was not here this week, so we got to do it next month for Chrissy.
No problem.
When Chrissy's around.
Hey,
right?
I want to make it more of like a Daily Boys.
Dates. There you go.
Yeah, give us the JJ dates, and we do like a Daily Boys monthly reunion talking about wrestling. That's a great idea.
Yeah, count me in.
I'm in for it. Thank you so much, guys, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Appreciate y'all.
We're out of time.
Later, y'all. Doggy Dick Connoisseur is one of the best moments that we've ever had on this flagship podcast, Josh, and you were a part of it.
Yeah.
Sat is literally back here still just laughing.
Yeah, that's all. Like, yo, what is that?
I'm gonna go. I want to go. I gotta look at my cat penis as well now.
Oh, what?
Get him out of here! Get him out of here!
Yo.
Rapid fire. We're gonna finish up what we heard so we can get to match of the week. and finish out with predictions for New Japan. New Japan news this week. You had Will Ospreay appeared at Pro Wrestling Noah's Naramichi Marufuji 25th anniversary last Sunday with one of the best matches of the year, Josh. You had Marufuji one-on-one with Will Ospreay for the first time ever, and absolutely excellent, outstanding main event in front of the Kurgan Hall, sold out crowd, one of the best crowds of the year. And these two guys had a all-time classic. Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter rated the match 4 3/4 stars, but I'm a coward. I got balls. I give it 5 stars. This was great. Loved it, every minute of it. Were you able to get a chance to watch that one? If you haven't, you should, Josh.
No, I did. And that's why
you did?
Like, great match. Yeah. Usually Ospreay matches, I usually try to like usually when I hear like a good word about it, I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. Just because I already know I'm gonna get a classic. So usually with his matches, I usually don't miss.
Absolutely. You can't miss Will Ospreay at this point. He's like the most must-watch wrestler in the world today. And a little bit of New Japan news, as previously reported, Kevin Kelly is finishing up with New Japan Pro Wrestling soon, where he served as the lead English commentator. Super Daycast and Post Wrestling report that New Japan has hired Walker Stewart to be the new English voice for the company. Walker has previously worked for GCW, New South Pro Wrestling, Future Stars of Wrestling, and Mission Pro. Kelly announced that he will still call New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction in Ryogoku on October 9th, Wrestle Kingdom 18 on January 4th, and New Year's Dash before he leaves. He also works as the lead commentator for AEW Collision. So I think this was the best thing for Kevin. He had done a few years going back and forth to Japan for tours, but he's got a family. He's got a kid that's about to start college. So it's best for him to have the US based job. And now that he's on Collision, seems like he's moving on from New Japan.
Yeah, because I know that's what he spoke about, right? I think there was like fans, they were like, no, like, why are you leaving? Like, I think they were like basically like sad, but then he basically made it clear himself that he has a wife, he's been married for this long, and the travel is too much. Like going from here, it's different when you're traveling within the country, but when you're traveling to Japan, especially as many times as he does, could take a toll. It could take a toll, and I think he's making the right decision. Like you said, his kids are getting older. So he's doing the right thing. Especially if he has grandkids, you never know.
Yeah.
So I understand. On a human level, you understand his decision, but then also he has a job at AEW, so it's not like he's leaving. But at least you get to hear him, and I think he's really good at his job. I think he was one of those guys with WWE that could have been probably bigger, like if he was still there, but
he was there around the time that Michael Cole came into the company.
Yeah, and he's really made a career for himself outside of WWE, so good for him.
Facts. Final to the show that we miss, ROH TV on Honor Club had a good Kazuchika Shibata defeating Nick Wayne in a good contest to retain the ROH Pure Championship. You also had Athena with one of the best segments of the week with a Minion in Training segment with Billy Starks and Lexi Nair before she defeated Angelina Love to retain the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. Mogul Embassy retained the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team titles again to Willie Mack and the Infantry before losing them to the Elite. And then finally, you had Impact 1000. The show featured Awesome Kong, Trinity, Mickey James, and Jordan Grace, and Gail Kim defeating Giselle Shaw, Savannah Evans, Deanna Purrazzo, Angelina Love, and Tasha Steelz in a fun 10 knockouts tag team match. And yes, Angelina Love pulled the Rick Rude, Josh. She was on 2 shows at the same time, Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling here. I love the celebration by the Babyface Knockouts, which had Mickey James staring at the Impact World Championship. And spoiler alert, that is going to be the matchup for Bound for Glory. Mickey James versus Trinity for the Knockouts World Championship. Speaking of Bound for Glory, though, Josh Alexander defeated Trey Miguel in a good bout. Post-match, Alex Shelley accepted Alexander's challenge for the Impact World Championship at Bound for Glory in what should be one of my most anticipated matches of the year. It was also announced that Will Ospreay will go one-on-one with Speedball Mike Bailey at Bound for Glory as well. Before that, Speedball will face Jonathan Gresham next week, and Alan Angels beat Speedball Mike Bailey, Rich Swann, Samaria Del Sol, Zachary Wentz, and Ace Austin in an Ultimate X match. Very good matchup here. Alan Angels will now challenge Chris Sabin for the Impact X Division Championship this coming Thursday on Impact on Access TV. So a really good show to finally conclude Impact 1000 this week. So good stuff from Ring of Honor and Impact Wrestling, which of course makes our job harder for this segment, Josh. Match of the week time, as we will give you our 3 to 5 best matches that we saw from this past week, from last Saturday to last night, Friday night. We're going to give you our best. I will start things off so Josh has a little bit of time to think things over. Honorable mention, I'll go with Sammy Guevara versus Chris Jericho from Grand Slam. I'll also go with the Ultimate X match from Impact 1000. Those are my honorable mentions for this week. Now, as far as my matches of the week, number 5, I'll go with Butch versus Tyler Bate from NXT. This was another great matchup between these two guys who never seem to have anything less than a great matchup. Number 4, probably the most surprising great match of this week, Kofi Kingston versus Ivar from Monday Night Raw. Like, that just came out of nowhere. It just delivered so much great action. I did not expect that, so I have to give them love right here. Number 3, I'm going to go with Eddie Kingston versus Claudio Castagnoli from Grand Slam. The moment is an all-time moment. The match was great, so I had to include it here. Number 2, just edging out Eddie versus Claudio, MJF versus Samoa Joe from Grand Slam. And number 1 this week, Will Ospreay versus Narumichi Marufuji from Kurgan Hall last Sunday. An all-time classic. The pacing was there. Yeah, Marufuji at 43 years old, working like he was a junior heavyweight again and keeping pace for pace with one of the fastest wrestlers out there at 43. Man, Narumichi Marufuji, he needs more credit at being one of the greatest Japanese wrestlers we've ever seen. So definitely go out of your way to watch that if you haven't already. Josh, your matches of the week.
I'm going to go with the top 3. Number 3, Kingston versus Claudio. It was a great match, great send off. It was a great moment for Kingston. Number 2, MJF versus Samoa Joe. It was a great match. Just kind of sucks because it feels like the Adam Cole injury kind of like overshadowed that a little bit too much.
A lot
of people not giving that some credit, but then also the way that the match finished. It was a lot different than I expected. I thought he was going to use a diamond ring and then use the chokehold, but instead he used the rope. He used the rope to choke him out.
He used the tape. That was the same tape he used against CM Punk in their first match.
Yeah, that was the same thing. So, the match. The way it finished was still similar. He still finished with a chokehold, like a bullshit chokehold, just to cover up what he was doing. But it was a great match. And then number 1, I agree, Ospreay versus Fuji.
Marufuji, Ospreay, go out of your way to watch that for sure. And let's finish things off rapid fire with New Japan Pro Wrestling Destruction in Kobe 2023. If you want a more in-depth preview, check out me and Lyric Wrestling from yesterday. We previewed the entire show. The show goes down tonight, 2 a.m. Eastern time. For us in the U.S., unfortunately, got to stay up late and watch this one. We're only going to... Only going to do the title matches and main matches on this card, but also on the card, you're going to see tag team action to open up. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney and Clark Connors versus Kevin Knight and Tiger Mask. You also got Doki Sanada, Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and Yoshinobu Kanemaru of Just Five Guys versus Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro Takahashi of House of Torture in trios action. You got the Gorillas of Destiny versus Bullet Club in a 10-man tag team matchup. You're also going to see tag team action from the junior heavyweight division, as it's going to be Lio Rush and Yo versus Hiromu Takahashi and Bushi, and also some tag team action with Kazuka Okada and Tomohiro Ishii versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Bad Dude Tito of TMDK. So some big matches before we get to the title matches, but let's get into the title matches here, Josh. For the King of Pro Wrestling 2023 Provisional Championship, Tai Chi will defend against Sho in a seconds handcuff match where members of House of Torture will be handcuffed to Just Five Guys members. Who you got?
What?
Yes.
Say that again?
Seconds handcuff match. So basically, Sanada will be handcuffed to Evil. Dick Togo will be handcuffed to Taka. And Sanada, yeah, you know, basically members of House of Torture handcuffed to members of Just Five Guys.
Yeah, this is confusing. I'm like trying to figure out who's gonna win. I don't know, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna go with Tai Chi. Tai Chi winning.
All right, I'm gonna go with Tai Chi.
I don't want to see anyone from House of Torture ever win a title ever again.
Oh, yeah, you know,
IW.
Yeah, that's not the first time I heard that too from people.
House of Torture, man. It's the bane of New Japan fans' existence. IWGP Tag Team Championships up for grabs. Bishamon, Hiroki Goto, and Yoshihashi will defend against TMDK's Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes. This will be TMDK's third opportunity at the tag team titles this year. They lost to Bishamon at New Beginning, lost to Aussie Open at Satonumo Nagano. So this is their third opportunity this year. I think it is going to be the opportunity. I got TMDK winning. Who you got?
Yeah, after you said that, I think it's going to be TMDK. Because usually New Japan, they usually don't book stuff like this and it constantly lose unless if it's
Hiroki Goto.
Like Goto, yeah. It was a Goto or Ishii or something like that. But the third time, I mean, this is what you said. This is the third time or fourth time they're facing
third time. This is their third title shot. This is their second match against each other. Yeah.
All right. Third title shot. I feel like it happens. I think the title change happens.
I feel you. Great Okan will go one-on-one with Shingo Takagi, a part of the faction warfare between United Empire and Los Ingobernables de Japón. Who you got here, Shingo or Great Okan?
I'll go with Shingo. Great Okan is great on social media, not so much wrestling. So I'll go with Shingo.
I'm going to agree with you. I got Shingo winning, and I think he's going to be the next challenger for the Never Openweight Championship.
Yeah.
Next, you got one that a lot of people are looking forward to. Tetsuya Naito will go one-on-one with Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb earned this opportunity, beating Naito in the G1, the same G1 that Naito eventually wound up winning. Usually, this would be for the contract for the Tokyo Dome main event, but Naito said, if Okada didn't have to defend it, I don't. So he basically made up a fake contract to give to Jeff Cobb if he beats him. Who you got, Naito or Cobb?
I'm going with Naito.
I'm going with Naito, so we never find out what was really written on his made-up contract.
Bro, yeah, what? Yeah.
And then finally, I think this is going to be probably the front runner for next week's match of the week for me. Will Ospreay will defend the IWGP US UK Championship against Yota Tsuji. Yota Tsuji pinned Will Ospreay at the G1 Climax 33 final event in a multi-man match between LIJ and United Empire. We've had several multi-man matches on the road too, where Tsuji, despite being like 100 pounds heavier and like 3-4 inches taller, seems to go move for move, like pace for pace, step for step with Will Ospreay. So it makes me very much look forward to the matchup at Destruction in Kobe. But does the Tsuji shock happen here, or does Will Ospreay retain, Josh?
I think Will retains.
I think Will retains only because he's gearing up for a hell of an October. He's already got the Speedball matchup at Bound for Glory. He's going to versus Zack Sabre Jr. for the championship at Royal Quest in the UK. And he doesn't seem to be booked for New Japan show on October 1st. So Kasusori Shibata said he wants to prove himself as the best wrestler in the world, and he has some unfinished business with another best wrestler in the world. Just saying. I think that Will Ospreay gets the win, but I think this is going to be Tsuji's best match to date.
Yeah, I agree.
Negro Buck saying, want to go for Tsuji, especially with all this talk he's been saying about bringing back the IC title, but I got to take Billy Goat. We got Negro Buck saying third, Finit be the charm, talking about Mikey Nichols and Shane Hayes getting the tag team titles. And we got Annika giving us her matches of the week, saying Big Strong Boy versus Pete Dunne, Kofi Kingston versus Ivar, Io Sky versus Asuka. Really good matchup. I should have put that as an honorable mention as well. Samoa Joe versus MJF and Eddie versus Claudio. Good matches chosen there as well. But that brings us to a close on another edition of the Flagship Podcast. This is one of my favorites. I had such a good time today with you, Josh, with the Daily Boys. Appreciate you filling in for Chrissy Love always, Josh. Appreciate you.
Yeah, always, try to do my best, when I'm available on the weekends, because I'm usually doing something. I always have activities going on during the weekend. So it was always fun when I have free time to come on to help out.
Appreciate you for that. Please let the people know where they can follow you on social media, what you got going on, and when they'll see you on the channel next.
So you can follow me at DamnPunk321 on X and Instagram. Probably be on for Wednesday. Elite Heat. We're gonna see who's available. So I plan on doing it. Even if I gotta do it solo, I'll do it solo. We'll see what's the game plan for that. But probably Wednesday. Solo. I'll be doing more talking to solo, but yeah, we'll see who's available on Wednesday.
You progress in life a lot faster than solo too. He's just been in the same position since he debuted on this whole damn show. But yes, thank you all for joining us today. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at Tru Heel SP3. Follow the gang Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Tru Heel Heat. Plenty of great content over at patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat. Like I said earlier today, go over to patreon.com/Tru Heel Heat, $3 a month, and you'll get the first access to our interview with Matt Cardona from StarCast. We discuss his partnership with Steph DeLander, the videos they've been making, and what promotion he wants to take over next. So check that out right now, and check out Tru Heel Heat Sports, as we'll have watch-alongs for the NFL content tomorrow. So go over and subscribe. We're slowly approaching 500 subscribers over there, so go over and support us over there as well, and check out all the great content we got on the channel right now, like our Destruction in Kobe 2023 preview, and we got a brand new show about to drop, Josh, with your favorite person, Jimmy Macaram, as we're going to go in the stars, and we're going to go through the star ratings of Uncle Dave Meltzer for AEW All In, All Out WWE Payback, and we will break down his star ratings and give our own star ratings for the top matches. Check it out. Going to be dropping on the channel either next week or the week after. In the stars.
Yeah, you see, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Coming up with new stuff. We're coming up with new stuff over here. Rated Raw review. I'll be back on Tuesday for that, but I'll be back tomorrow right here on the Tru Heel Heat YouTube channel, 11:05 a.m. Eastern Time, for Collision Discourse with Just JJ. For JM Punk, Tru Draw Josh, for Sat E. Niangi, for Alice McCarthy, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. This has been Tru Heel Heat 244 Grand Slam releases. We are signing off until next time.